Okay, I think we can start now. It's a couple of minutes past 2 p.m. here in Finland. And so today we are going to look at the Finnish startup ecosystem, especially in deep tech. And this workshop is mainly directed for the Ukrainian entrepreneurs, deep tech entrepreneurs who are looking into opportunities to coming to the Finnish market. So I will have a couple of slides here before we start, and then the actual agenda will continue so that after the short introduction here, Peter Westerbacka will have a talk on why Finland is an excellent country for deep tech entrepreneurs. And Peter's background, most of you know, he has been in various roles at Rovio, Angry Birds, and there's the tunnel project, and many other things are happening. So massive stuff. And then we will have Jaana Rantanen from Business Finland presenting. After that, we will have the three cities, Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa, tell about their soft landing offerings for the startups, and also the environment, very short, 10 minutes each. After which, David Gunnarsson is going to present the Blue Force, which is a deep tech company founded by two non-Finnish entrepreneurs from Amsterdam, and David himself is from Sweden. And then we will go through the Business Finland services for deep tech startups. Jaana Rantanen will also tell about those. And after that, there will be the overall overview of regulatory and commercial environment in Finland, basically looking at who are the local agencies supporting startups. And so that will be by Mikko Armila from Business Helsinki and Salla Tuominen from DLA Piper, the legal perspective. And then we will have a short break. And after the break, we go to section 4 about the third level institutions, universities, and research facilities. So we will hear about BTT Launchpad. Lotta Partanen is going to have a speech there, and Terhi Kajaste from FCAI, Industrial and Societal Relations from Aalto University. And also Tai Tran is going to speak about quickly, and Kim Aalto from Innovation Services. And then today's session will end in a panel where we have some venture capital investors, angel investors, state and private equity, and crowdfunding, and so forth. And that will be the last part of this session. So quickly about Seeds of Bravery. This is a almost 21 million euro project supporting the Ukrainian deep tech ecosystem, and we are hoping to support both companies in Ukraine before the war started, and also those who have to escape from Ukraine after the war started. So this project is aimed at such companies, and we're looking to fund about 400 companies, and then there will be 200 more this kind of seal of excellence companies, and there will be some EU grants available, some mentoring, go-to-market support, and this and that, and basically also investments. And this is a very important EU Horizon project because it's one of the biggest now which is running. And there we have the consortium partners, Aalto University being one of them, and EIT Health and the others. So all of these are kind of reputable partners who are supporting the consortium. And then there are different grants for companies here. But since I'm already over time, I will just go through the slides quickly, and you will receive all this material later on. So I will now give the floor to Peter Westerbacka, who is going to tell about why Finland is a good place to be for Ukrainian startup entrepreneurs. The floor is yours, Peter.
Yeah, thank you. And not only a good, but actually I would argue the best place. And yeah, and I'm going to talk about Finland, but also there in the background you can see the finest Bay Area, so Finland, Estonia, and Sweden. And yes, as Henrik mentioned, I was at Rovio for many years, so I was the mighty eagle there. We made Angry Birds the fastest growing consumer brand ever. So 93% of Chinese population, 91% in India, 9 out of 10 people on the planet kind of like knew the brand. So that's pretty good kind of like start. And I always say that it was kind of like easy for us because everybody knows, Finnish people, best marketeers on the planet. So wasn't that kind of like difficult. But anyway, that actually started as a student project out of Aalto University. So that's where the guys met, and then they built Rovio and Angry Birds, and the rest is history. Then another thing that I want to mention, in 2008, we started Slush, which is now the biggest and best startup event on the planet. And the reason we started Slush was that we needed more entrepreneurship, more startups here in the region. And some might ask, like why Slush is called Slush. Slush is called Slush because the world is full of these kind of like wannabe Silicon Valley events and wannabe Silicon Valley locations. So I've been to hundreds of places where I'm told that, hey, we are the, if you go to, say, I don't know, Beijing, they will tell you that they are the Silicon Valley of China. You go to Tokyo and they will tell you that they're the Silicon Valley of Asia. I actually started my career at, Silicon Valley, in the Silicon Valley, and it's a fantastic place. We all know that it's a great source of inspiration, but it's already there. You can't lead by following. So with Slush, we wanted to make clear that we're doing things differently. So we organized Slush in November, and when you come to Helsinki in November, it's not like sunny and warm like it is most of the time, like today, but it's actually in November, it's cold, it's dark, and there is slush on the ground. So it's not the Silicon Valley. It's better, and it's much, much better because it's different. Okay, how is it different? Maybe the most important thing is that we put young people in charge. So if you look at Slush, the biggest and best startup event on the planet, it's all run by young people. So 20,000 people from 160 countries, including Ukraine, come to Slush each year. But the whole event is built by 1,600 young people from more than 60 countries. And they're there not because somebody told them to be there, but they're there because they want to be there, they love to be there. And that is actually how we built the whole ecosystem here in Finland, that for the most part, it's actually run by young people. We have student-run incubators, accelerators, student-run VCs at all the 35 university and University of Applied Sciences campuses in Finland. So that is actually how we made all of that happen. And if you look at, Slush as an example, last year we had over 3 trillion. So, that is over 3,000 billion in venture capital just at Slush. And that is the biggest gathering of venture capital any given time anywhere on the planet. And all the capital is there because all the best startups are there at Slush. And all the best startups are, of course, there because all the capital is there. So it becomes a very nice, self-reinforcing upward spiral. And if you look at then the finest Bay Area and the ecosystem here, we have the highest number of startups per capita, we have the highest number of unicorns per capita, and the highest amount of venture capital per capita. So we are actually way ahead of the US, way ahead of China, and goes without saying, way ahead of the rest of Europe. So I would argue that this is a very, very good place to be. Then why, besides all of these fantastic, like details about the startup ecosystem, then why else would you come to Finland? Okay, in Finland, many people know us for providing fantastic education, not just to a few people, but for all. So we really decided many, many years ago that the biggest kind of like resource that we have here in Finland, I mean, we have a bit of forest, but that's about it when it comes to natural resources. So the most important resource, the people. So we decided that we have to provide all 5.6 and counting Finnish people or people here in Finland with fantastic education. So that is really the foundation. And you will find that not only at our universities, but you will find that all through our education, from like early years education all the way through to higher education. And we are also known for being the happiest country on the planet, not, you know, like just once or twice, but according to the UN, 7 years in a row, Finland, happiest nation on the planet. And I think that there are many reasons for that. And I think one of the main reasons is that here in Finland, we grew up watching American TV, American movies. We learned about the American dream. You might have heard about that. But in Finland, we decided to make it real. So as I mentioned, we provide everybody with fantastic education. We provide everybody, not just a few, with the freedom to pursue happiness. In Finland, you have the freedom to start a company. You have the freedom to start a family. You have the freedom to be all that you want to be and all you can be. And I think this is something that is very, very important. And in the context of, you know, today and, you know, like what is going on, you know, in the Ukraine, and we obviously we need to win the war. In Finland, we have 100 out of 100 on the Freedom House Freedom Index. And I think that this is something that is very, very important. I mean, in the US, they have 83 points, Vietnam 19, China single digits. So I actually had the opportunity to meet with the former Prime Minister of Slovakia, Mikuláš Dzuhindra. And actually, I was with one of our young students, and she asked Mikuláš that, okay, you have the long distinguished career as foreign minister, prime minister of Slovakia, now you're running a think tank in the EU. What is the most important thing that you have learned during your long and distinguished career? And without hesitation, he said, freedom. Without freedom, you have nothing. And he lived in Slovakia before 1989 and obviously after 1989. So he knows what he's talking about. And I think that this is something that is very, very important. Here in Finland, we are very big on equality. We treat everybody the same. We believe that young people are people too. In Finland, we don't have a rule that you have to be, you know, 70-year-old plus white man to run the country. You can be a young woman or a young man or an old man or an old woman. We have had all of that. So we provide equal opportunity for everybody, no matter age, gender, race, you know, you name it. So I think that that is why, you know, if I was you, if I was running, you know, or had some deep tech innovation and I want to do something about that, Finland and the finest Bay Area by far the best place to start a company, because you have to think about your children, your family. That is the like most important thing. And here in Finland, I guarantee you that you will find equal, plentiful opportunity, and we will treat you just as we're treating everybody else here in Finland. So this is the best place to be for deep tech startups, but it's the best place to build any kind of company, any kind of family. So again, I can highly recommend Finland and the finest Bay Area as the perfect base for building your future. So welcome to Finland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter, and this deserves applaud. And thanks for joining this seminar. This is very, very important that you are part of the project and kind of give also the face to the Ukrainian startup. So this is really good. And there was actually one change in the agenda. So if you're interested in joining the panel at the end, just ping me and I'll send you the link, or come and join the link. So more than happy to have you there also.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation and introduction. Okay, so next we go to the next presenter, which will be Jaana Rantanen from Business Finland, and she will tell a high-level introduction of the country and then Nico Downey will take on the moderator role, and I will be more quiet here. So please, Jana, you can share your screen and your presentation, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let's see if I can share this. I think you can see it now. Can you?
Yes, that's perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Clear.
Thank you. Yeah, hello, my name is Jaana Rantanen from Business Finland, and I'm going to tell you a couple of facts about Finland, the happiest startup nation, as Peter already told us. So we are a nation of 5.5 million people. Our capital is Helsinki in the southern part of Finland, and our neighbors are Sweden, Norway, Russia, and Estonia. And we fighted our independence in 1917. We have a multi-party democracy, and it's no fake. Actually, it's real life, and we are happy with that. And we have been member of the European Union since 1995, and our currency is euro, and we speak actually we have two languages in Finland. We have Finnish and Swedish as our official languages, and then we pretty much talk English also. And the corporate tax is 20%. Here are some facts about our environment and economic systems. So Finland is a forerunner in sustainability, and as Peter already told you, education in Finland answers to future needs. So we are the best in that section. We are the happiest country, been many times already now, and our gender equality is really third in the world. And I think what is not said here, Finns drink a lot of coffee. So if you come to Finland, don't be surprised. Almost all in Finland drink coffee. And we are the freest country in the world. So if you don't like coffee, so you can drink tea also. Finland has the second best sustainable competitiveness in the world. So we think our nature is very important, and we want to have also business which takes care of the environment.
Jana, sorry to interrupt you, but your slides are not moving on.
Really?
So if you go into full slide mode, full slideshow mode.
Good that you said it, because I can see my slides changing.
No, sorry. We're just looking at the first slide all the time.
Oh, so what should I do?
So
go to presentation mode.
Presentation
but
mode,
I am in the presentation mode. I have to now end it. Can you see now my slide? It's not in the presentation slide.
No, it isn't in presentation mode, but we can see it.
Yeah.
So if you want,
we can see a different slide now.
Oh yeah, that's better as well.
If I like keep it like this, so you will see it. Is it okay?
Yeah, you can see it definitely now.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the feedback.
No problem.
Yeah. Where was I? I think I was somewhere here. Yeah. Finland is the most advanced country in the EU in the utilization of digitalization, and we are the most stable country in the world. And environmentally, Finland ranks second in the global energy innovations, and we have the second highest share of renewable energy in Europe, which is quite high. And as I said already, Finland has the clean. We like our environment, so we have the cleanest air in the world. Let's do it this way. Finland is the global innovation leader. So we were third in most innovative country and innovation champion in year, was it 2019? And we have a lot of collaboration between university and industry. So we think that's where the deep techs, for instance, are very important, and they raise from that. We have 2.8% R&D spend in R&D and of GDP, and our government has decided that this should be 4% till 2030, and we will work on for that a lot. Our researchers working in the R&D per 1 million people is higher than in US. So we really like to do R&D in the universities and in the companies. Our cornerstones as a and our country image is we are trustworthy, we are stable, safe, equitable, and high functioning welfare state. As Peter already told you, our educational system is one of the best in the world. And what is also very important, our work-life balance is very high. We can enjoy the high quality of life and combine interesting career with a thriving personal life. So even women with children can have a good career if they like, but they can also stay at home if they like, and men also. So it's not only women. We are home to many thriving companies. We, as I said, we like to do R&D, and we like to have people who have the technological expertise in universities and companies. So this is very important for us. And we get a lot of foreign people in the universities, and they are also founding a lot of startups here in Finland. We have unique nature, and we want to keep it that way also. So we want to protect it and have many inventions also to the climate technology and so on. So it's good to have those inventions in Finland. Here you can see the key startup industry sectors we have set up here. So quantum computing, health, energy, food tech, immersive games, AI and data analytics, defense and dual use, and new materials. These are very important and also very high level companies we have in these sectors. And then why Finland is the happiest nation in the world. This is kind of the summary of all those things that we find important and think that these are the things that we have that brings quality in our life, and we are happy to live in Finland. I'm not going through them. I think we have said, either me or Peter has already said most of these things. Maybe only the sauna is one that it has not been mentioned here, but the education, free education and healthcare is also the very big things we have here, according to be the happiest nation in the world. But here you have some of the facts, important facts about Finland, and you can, if you come to Finland, you can enjoy them also. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jana, for the introduction into Finland. And thank you to Peter before that also. A quick introduction to everyone to me. My name is Nico Downey. I am the head of startup advisory at Aalto University. Here at Aalto Startup Center, we are a hybrid accelerator incubator platform that actually runs several specialized accelerator programs. Those include our core Sustainable Tech Accelerator Business Generator. We also run the European Space Agency Accelerator ESABIC Finland, Urban Tech Helsinki, Aalto Digital Creatives, and of course now the Seeds of Bravery Accelerator and Incubator focused on founders and entrepreneurs from Ukraine. But you'll hear more from me later. For now, I'm here to introduce our next three speakers who represent the three cities of the capital region here in Finland, Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa. They're here to tell us a little more about soft landing services for entrepreneurs looking to launch operations and grow in Finland. So to start things off, we are joined by Mikko Armila from Business Helsinki. Over to you, Mikko.
Okay, thank you, Nico. My name is Mikko Armila. I'm from Business Helsinki. I'm leading the startup soft landing services here. And also I'm leading the team of capital region soft landing services together with Espoo and Vantaa. And just a second, I share my screen here. A second, like this. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Is it changing when I change now the first slide?
No, we just see the standard view.
You see. Okay, then I do the same that I'm doing like this. Just a moment. So you can see it now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. In Finland, capital region, it really thrives on trust, care, and community. And what we do in here in the capital region is something that we want to build the best soft landing services for startups coming to Finland and enter into the European market. Something to say about the market that we didn't mention earlier is something that Finland belongs to the Nordic countries, and I think this is probably one of the best place to start your company. Also because of, if you think about a market here, it's the overall Nordic is all about like 25 to 30 million people with very high GDP and really average money to spend for the services. So this is actually the great market to be. So what we do in here is something that we want to make sure that once you consider Finland and the capital region for a place to be, and for Helsinki, that's something that we want to help you to really come here, establish your business here, and we take care of you during you are here. Not only that we help you here, but also supporting with as Business Helsinki, we have a accelerator programs as well that we provide in free of charge. There are very experienced coaches that can help you to establish the connections in the ecosystem, not only in Helsinki but also with the Espoo and Vantaa, and especially with the Business Helsinki as well, that we work very closely with. Like mentioned earlier here, Finland has a very good ecosystem, and we have a lot of experience and examples about the things that we are very good at. For instance, if we calculate per capita, Finland is number one in venture capital in Europe, and we have a lot of examples on this area as well. One thing to be mentioned here in the Greater Helsinki area is something that this is probably the highest university concentrations in Europe. And in Helsinki, we really want to make sure that universities are linked to this startup supporting aspect as well. And we've been helping and supporting universities to build the incubators. So most of the universities have their own incubating program, and they are helping startups as well. This is the way that we bring research and universities close to the startup ecosystem as well. Regarding soft landing services that we are offering here in Helsinki and the Greater Helsinki area, the market entry strategy is something that we help companies to understand and how to enter to the market here. We provide one-on-one mentoring, which is important. We really take care of you and really respect your business cases and want to make sure that you get the best out of this ecosystem. We help you to connect with the local ecosystem and the local businesses, and also we are connecting you to the investors that we have. Also, we are organizing a lot of different kind of events and workshops. I could mention here that last week in Finland was one of the big events, startup events here in Helsinki, called Arctic 15. We hosted 16 international teams here and really helped them over the week before the event to really kind of explore the ecosystem in 3 cities, and also introduce them to the companies as well. So you can follow that from my LinkedIn also, that there has been a lot of mention that what has happened here last week in Finland. Also, like I said, our accelerator coaches and us, we help you to be introduced to the potential clients, and not to mention that in Helsinki we also host a lot of test beds that you are free to use, and you can get a lot of support with the real city data, for instance, whatever they are. And of course, the target is the international market expansion. So this is exactly what we are helping you to prepare for. We want that you will be you will succeed, not here in Finland, but you build your business from here to really expand to the market internationally. So what is startup soft landing? Just briefly, smooth transition into the Helsinki ecosystem, finding and attracting high international startup teams. That's what we do. We help you to kind of prepare yourself and your business plans to apply for a startup permit for Finland. And also there's a tailored service package for that facilitates your relocation to international startup. And we are also having here in Helsinki, International House Helsinki. I will provide a link to there as well. They will help you in any kind of questions and any kind of issues which is related to land or relocate to Helsinki, including spouses. They have information about kindergarten or schools or whatever with your family, for your family as well, and everything that you might have in your mind. We assist with the startup permit process, business plans, and the different kind of funding applications. For instance, for Finnish Business Angels Network, and we work very closely with them for seed funding and also with the investors here as well. And also ongoing support ensure the successful launch of your business. So key services guidance, development, coaching for business plans, assistance with legal and regulatory matters, connections to investors, both public and private ones. Like Business Finland was here before. We work very closely with them for the public grants as well. Workspace and housing solutions, that comes from International House Helsinki that I mentioned about, and different kind of networking events and integration to the local system. I leave you with this presentation about official links to these startup permit links, where you get the more information about that one as well. Couple of words also with the Business Helsinki. We have advisory services, innovation services, and then the growth services. And this is exactly Helsinki is supporting a lot, and we are investing heavily to really make this happen. But it's good to know that Helsinki is the capital of Finland, and also together with Espoo and Vantaa, we want to make sure that the capital region is supporting you totally. Why capital region? Like I mentioned, venture capital in EU based on capita is number one in Finland. And if we talk about the investors in this area, the capital region, there's a lot of venture capital companies, a lot of corporate funds and angel investors and private equity companies as well. So it has been, this is just an example that business angels has been very active, and this is the very important part of the seed funding rounds here in Finland. I think we have probably the best business angels network in Europe. More than 600 angels are very well organized, and there's a very good process how to to connect with them. So I urge you to look at FIBAN websites as well. Then Venture Capital Association is showing as well here. There are 175 members and a lot also international VCs from 42 countries has been invested in Finnish startups. Just some companies and the biggest rounds that has been done here. Relex, 500 million round. Volt, you might know, it's a great example, and it has been growing to billions of dollars company today, and some examples about the big rounds as well, and very interesting companies like IQM, which is quantum computer, and ISI at the Espoo side as well, to mention. So this is my team here in Greater Helsinki area startup soft landing team. We have 5 people here helping for you, and no matter who you contact with, we all take care of you, and we work very closely together, and want to make everything so smooth and easy to land here in Finland and in Helsinki capital region. And we do that together with the European innovation funds and Helsinki Innovations, Helsinki-Vantaa, Espoo-Vantaa Innovations project. That's from my side, and I think my colleagues from Espoo and Vantaa will add a lot of aspects on that one as well.
Thanks a lot, Mikko. Thanks for the summary of not only the soft landing services for City of Helsinki, but also the information on the team here. And I think this will all be shared with the audience of the webinar also, so that they have access to these contacts. So thank you for covering City of Helsinki. And next up, as I mentioned, we have Miska Hakala, who represents Enter Espoo, and can talk us through the soft landing services for Espoo. Miska, over to you.
Hello, it seems that I'm not able to share any of my screen.
Mikko, if you're able to stop sharing.
Okay, I will. Sorry, Miska.
No problem.
Okay, let me. Yep, now you should.
Okay, excellent. So you are seeing my screen now.
We don't see your screen at the moment. No.
Okay, that's what I was thinking as well. It's one of those practicalities when using Zoom for the first time. So I need to kind of like give the right for this. It won't happen now because I would need to actually restart the Zoom app, so it doesn't work that way at all, I guess.
Now we can see.
Oh, super. So,
Right.
so while I'm playing with my computer of trying to get this somehow sorted out.
We can see your screen, Miska.
Okay, excellent. So if you can see, so I can actually tell a little bit about the city of Espoo, and my name is Miska Hakala. I'm heading the growth team. Our team mission is to help the local companies for growth and invite international companies to Espoo to actually grow over here. And why I'm actually talking about kind of like this is that this is a very special area inside the Helsinki capital region. It's the innovation epicenter of the whole of Finland, actually, and it's in principle the whole Helsinki capital region is just one city, but we do happen to have the most interesting campus called Otaniemi, and we have all of the ingredients of being a great epicenter for innovation, and I will tell you briefly why. And here you can see the kind of like map from our perspective. So we are on the western side of Helsinki, and we are very much interconnected. So everything you do over here, it's always interconnected. So it doesn't matter where you actually start your journey towards Finland. We always help each other and find you the right place. But I will tell you briefly about why this Espoo area is an interesting one, and it might be really good opportunity for some of you. Might not. You'll find other opportunities, especially on the health side. I would definitely suggest you to actually explore the Meilahti health campus area. We do have quite a lot of very talented individuals living in our city, and most of them are very educated, and this is very international city as well, having about 150 nationalities, and English being the kind of official service language for the whole city. So all of the services are provided in English. So that helps quite a lot of kind of like easing down and coming over here. And I think that's very, very valuable if you're kind of like considering where you are moving. So you might have even the business at some other place, but Espoo might be a really good place for you to actually move to personally. And the reason for this is mostly this one. So we do have quite a lot of corporates. It's about almost like a half of the Helsinki Stock Exchange turnover is being headquartered in our area. And all of these international companies do actually attract quite a lot of international talent over here, and typically they are very educated, and same goes for the kind of local talent. So those are the one of the reasons why there's so many talented individuals with really high education in this area. And same applies for the foreign-owned companies. So all of these companies, you see, there's quite a lot of familiar names. All of them are present over here, and most of them are really open for business as well. So I think that helps quite a lot when developing this ecosystem and helping the smaller companies to actually grow, that they can utilize these as a first customers, or do pilots with them, or initiate business deals with them, and so on and so forth. And we are happy to help the companies. We know that where to go, where to find, and what to do, and regardless where you are in Finland. And one of the cornerstones of the whole innovation culture and what's happening over here is the Aalto University. And it was formed about 15 years ago by combining schools of business, technical university, and then arts university into one university called Aalto. And now over the kind of like a decade or so, it's really started to gain really much valuable kind of like, because you have very interesting kind of like combination where students can actually at the same time learn something about technology and business and arts. And these students are the ones who are actually shaping the future of Finland. So they are the ones behind the slush, as Peter mentioned. They are the ones who have initiated really interesting hackathons and projects and so on and so forth. So it's a really interesting campus to be working on. I'm really honored to actually work with these youngsters, and they are the ones who are really changing the world. And more than half of the kind of like university startups are coming from Aalto University, telling that there's this interesting culture that the people want to change the world, and they want to actually kind of like make their own startup and develop something new. And both, of course, it's supported by Aalto Startup Center, which is kind of like ranked in so many different cases that they're kind of like in the top 3 on university accelerators, and I think that the latest one was the top number 3. And those guys are around, so it's happy to kind of like help. They have different programs. They can actually kind of like even if you don't have a idea, you might actually join one of their kind of like accelerator incubator programs, and eventually you will have a pretty good startup idea, and you will get the support needed to actually get things rolling on. And even if you have an idea, I think that it might be worthwhile of checking out their programs, and perhaps they can actually help you move on your business venture. Then we have the VTT National Technical Research Center of Finland, and this is one of the interesting ones because they do have quite a lot of different piloting facilities, anything related to technology, being that from physics to chemistry to semiconductors, anything goes. These guys are always developing something new, and they are open for business. They are really keen on kind of like collaborating with different companies, going for different projects, and really kind of like developing something new. And this is very unique, especially from if some of my US friends are kind of like always say that it's very unique that you have all of these kind of piloting labs available for almost like a public use. So it's very unique place where if you want to do something with the hardware or deep tech, this is very good place to be, and there's plenty of opportunities of developing your company and product based on this. So it's not a surprise that there's so many different companies who have been born in Espoo, and we do have healthy amount of startups coming, and there are other accelerators and incubators just to name a few, and most of the unicorns in Finland are actually originally from this region, typically founded by Aalto students, and then they end up doing their thing in some other place. So it's a really kind of healthy environment where you can actually fail fast and then kind of like start again and find interesting people who can actually help you on your journey being an entrepreneur. So, and I have one specific initiative I would like to tell you about. If you're at all interested about semiconductors or anything related to clean rooms, we have the largest clean room already in the whole Nordics. It's called Micronova, and now we have this project called Quantinova, where we are actually developing this into campus. So there's going to be bigger clean room, new technologies, and also the local, let's say, semiconductor companies are also investing in this area. So it's going to be a very interesting field. If you happen to be interested about semiconductors or anything related to that kind of MEMS or different kind of like materials, you need clean room to actually develop on. So this is really good, exciting times for us, and I'm happy to help you on finding your place into this ecosystem. I definitely say that this is a really great opportunity. And all of this has led to this culture, what we call it is kind of like the Espoo innovation story. So this is really kind of like this is the place where people are passionate about developing solutions which are changing the world. So it's not always about the money. Money will come later, but people are actually setting up businesses and ventures that will actually shape the whole world. And we clearly know that Finnish market is not big enough, so always you have to reach out, and you have people who are thinking the similar kind of thing. But everybody's really looking at how we can actually jointly together bring the next kind of like technologies that will help on solving some of the global challenging problems of the world. So this is really the environment over here, and I if you feel that this is actually really resonating in your heart, we are definitely happy to help you get on board. And just to kind of like some of the services we do, and sometimes most of them are very easily available. So we help the foreign companies to actually find the local opportunities. We help on finding the different partners over here, and meeting the international investors and different players in our ecosystem. And of course, like we do host quite a lot of ecosystem visits and programs. So this is what we do, and I thank you. It's kiitos in Finnish, and wish that we will continue discussion with all of you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Miska. That was a great introduction and summary of, well, many things, but especially the research infrastructure and startup support services in Espoo, notably also at Aalto University and VTT as well. So many thanks for that. And to round out our introduction to the cities of the capital region, next up we have Olli-Pekka Mäki-Rintala from Business Vantaa to tell us about soft landing services and startup support in the city of Vantaa. So Olli-Pekka, over to you.
Thank you very much. Now let's see if I can share my screen. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
But we're not seeing we're just seeing an image for your camera.
So you see, let me see, let's try again.
I can see the San Francisco Bridge.
Yeah.
Can you see now my screen? Can you see now?
We can see your screen and we can see your presentation, but we, for your Zoom avatar, it's just San Francisco Bridge. It's not your face.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, it's
if you want to put it into present mode, you can, or you can just present it as you are.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I try to do it in presentation mode, but
that's brilliant.
Okay, so my name is Olli-Pekka Mäki-Rintala, and great to be here. And I'm heading international business services, including foreign direct investments and growth services, and also startup services and talent services, and nowadays also Visit Vantaa in our Vantaa economic development services. Great to be here, and nice to meet you all. Regarding soft landing services, like Mikko told you that soft landing we do in cooperation with Helsinki, Vantaa, and Espoo, and we have basically the same services everywhere in the capital region, and our idea is that when you come as a startup to any of our services or reach out any of our people, we can direct you in the correct place, be it then Vantaa, Espoo, or Helsinki. But a little bit about Vantaa, where we say that where your business takes flight, and it's really that our idea is that when you have a game-changing technology market solution and targeting the growth and market success, that how to fill the gap, and that's where we try to help you. And if you think about why Vantaa is part of the capital region, but it's the place where the Finnish main airport locates. So So we have here airport is in the area we call it Aviopolis, and that's the area of superior accessibility. And it's in the heart of the Helsinki metropolitan area, and it's a quite big business area in terms of companies and in terms of how important it's for Finnish GDP. Also, main roads and rail lines are crossing the city, and also good connections to Helsinki Harbor. And in fact, it's very compact area. It's almost walkable, and that's quite unique in the worldwide that you can even walk to the airport terminals. And what we do in Vantaa in our economic development services, we can support you, like I said, our soft landing and coaching services. We can support your growth. And then we can help you to gaining access to our stores are definitely all related to logistics, digital logistics, how to use AI there, then aviation technology, and also plenty of things related to travel related technologies and solutions. The other big, very remarkable area in Vantaa is really today this high-tech manufacturing. So meaning that, for example, good examples we have, for example, Canatu starting from Aalto University and VTT, but when they needed to really scale their production, they found a place in Vantaa. That's how we can support this great company starting from Espoo or Helsinki. That here we can offer land and opportunities, for example, for manufacturing and scaling the business. Then is food sector, food tech. Vantaa is quite big in overall food area and also in this green sustainability sectors, including one certain area called Uusiola, which is in a way renewal place, combining businesses, doing things in circular economy. What else do we have here? Of course, access here in all these universities around capital region and R&D support. Very near in Vantaa, we have a Metropolia, which have a very good Metropolia garages in different areas, food, robots, electricity and energy. So which can be used. They are very helpful in if any testing or piloting or R&D development are in cases you need help. And like in Helsinki and other places, we have tested opportunity for piloting, and we have now quickly developing our startup communities and events. And of course, in Vantaa, you can of course enjoy all other capital region services and what is happening there. And maybe the nice thing is that we are just opening a new startup place, which is in Avia Pilot building, and it's about 3 minutes walk from the main terminal in the airport area. So if you really like to be near the airport and really like to enjoy great views over the airport, that's the place to be, and then of course utilize all the services we can provide in the capital region. And our team is in addition to myself, Miikka Neuvonen, who is our startup ecosystem head, and then Sergei Troskov, who is our project manager in soft landing services. You can of course contact all of us. And we have also in overall in our economic development services that if you contact us, we will reply within 48 hours. At least you get the information what will happen next. Thank you. That's
That's
quickly
great.
from Vantaa.
Yeah, many thanks, Olli-Pekka, for the introduction to Vantaa, and also once again to Miska and to Mikko for the cities of Helsinki and Espoo before that too. That is a really valuable and comprehensive rundown of all of the support services and landing services and startup support across all 3 cities. For an audience of entrepreneurs either outside Finland or recently relocated to Finland, one of the richest possible forms of insight and knowledge comes from those who have been through the process and those that have done that before. So for our next speaker, I'm really delighted to be able to introduce David Gunnarsson, the Chief Technology Officer of Blueforce, to tell us about the history of very successfully doing that with founders launching their business and growing from within Finland. So David, if you are with us, I will hand the floor over to you. Take it away.
Thank you, Nico, and thank you for the kind introduction. So my speech will be a little bit more technical, but I hope bear with me. I think it's supports giving the story, what Blueforce did and what made us successful. I will also try to make some kind of sort of reference to what has been talked about earlier here, since we are a spin-off of the Finnish ecosystem. So that and there is of course lessons learned here. So let's see, I'm trying to share now. And I guess do you see the right screen now?
We can see the slide. Yes, that's perfect.
That's the right one. Okay.
Yes.
So starting off, so Blueforce, of course, have really sort of benefited from the Finnish ecosystem, both from sort of the enterprises that have existed here or exist here, and also the schools and the workforce that actually made it possible to sort of grow the company to the size we are today. My talk is sort of twofold, so I will start giving sort of an introduction to what we are, what we do, and how we look today, and then I will take the next step and take a little bit historical view of what did we do that made Blueforce successful, and just some pointers maybe to the other speeches that have been there today. But Blueforce, we are an engineering and manufacturing company. We are doing something called cryogenic systems that supports both the scientific community as scientific tools, but has also the last 10 years become sort of a very important part in industries where cryogenics are sort of enabling new technologies that will take sort of our abilities to do things further as sort of a world community. We have been around for 16 years, so Blueforce is a spin-off from then TKK, so it's a former name of Aalto University. More specifically, it was coming from something called Low Temperature Lab, which have a long history of both spin-offs and sort of research within cryogenics. It started, I think, already back in the 60s. And I think that's actually the foundation that Blueforce is resting on. We do have a lot of legacy within the cryogenic research community that sort of made Finland the place where this kind of company actually could be established. As a curiosity, of course, Blueforce was founded by 2 Dutchmen, Rob Blaugvers and Peter Vorselman. And the reason they were in Finland was, of course, that they did their PhDs and work in sort of the university environment, and saw that there was an opportunity here to actually start a company. Everything was in place. As I said, we started out in Espoo, but quite quickly we moved to Helsinki. And I think the city in itself was not sort of the reason. It was more to really spin away from the university. I think this is something that the founders usually bring up quite often, that it's very important for a spin-off at one point to sort of disconnect the ties a little bit and focus quite 100% on your business. It's quite often that you have 50% employment in your sort of academic research organization, and then you have 50% in your company. And I don't think it's a good mix. I think it's very important to sort of really take the step, because starting a company and make it successful is 150% work. So you cannot really share it. So I think that was a very good decision, and we have now been in Pitkämäki area in Helsinki, and here we have been able to grow the company to the size it is today. We are now, last year we had a revenue above 190 million euros, and we are over 600 professionals. And something that is striking for us is that we can have sort of 50 nationalities working for us. And I think what previous speakers have talked about is maybe the reason. We have a very good infrastructure. People are very happy here. It's a good place to sort of start a living. So I think both getting people here due to the technology we're doing, but also due to the place Finland is. So we're very proud that we can attract 50 nationalities here. When it comes to the systems that we are producing, the product, we have more than 1,000 of this around the world. And during these 16 years, all of them are still in operation. So that's something that I will come back to. Quality is a very important keyword for us. One big event that we did beginning of last year was that we actually expanded our operation also to US. So we also have a manufacturing capability in New York State with acquisition of something called Cryomeg. And that I think will support us and help us to grow further on the world market. Looking where we are located, so I just mentioned US, we have manufacturing capability there, but we also have sales and service office in downtown New York. We also present in Central Europe with our own presence, and then also in Japan, serving the sort of Asia area of our operation. The blue dot you see there is actually something we call Blueforce Lab. It's in Netherlands, Delft. The reason for this one is sort of a new business model from our side, where we try to sort of attract more sort of startup companies that need our technology, but maybe don't have sort of the need to invest sort of in really procuring our systems, but they need to sort of use them to prove their technology. This is something I saw Quantinova from Espoo coming up, and I think similar sort of Blueforce Labs is something we will look into to also have here in Finland and also other places in the world. Coming back to what we actually do, so we actually make it possible for customers to have payloads at ultra low temperatures. And we don't only make something that cools down the system, but we also support them with the sort of signal path of actually getting some useful information from these low temperatures. So when they put their payload there, they also need to take the data back up and down. And it's actually not trivial in that sense at these low temperatures. The core products we have is the dilution refrigerator and the cryocooler. And this is something we serve with a quite wide customer base. So we have large corporations that we support with their initiatives where they need cryogenics, but also universities and research labs where we sort of provide them with solutions that helps them further their impact in publication and research. Then the startups I already mentioned through the Blueforce Labs, that's something that sort of is a new way of providing cryogenics to make it possible to use your technology where at the temperature that you actually reap the most benefits. Just to give an overview of where cryogenics actually are used, so general research, but we also have sort of with the acquisition of Cryomeg, we also have a branch in healthcare. with the MRI and MNR type of cooling systems. Also in high energy physics and new clean energy sector, there is sort of a need for cryogenics to make those technologies perform. Of course, the one that is the strongest is maybe quantum technology or quantum computing. That has been the sort of reason for the growth we see today. And I think that's where we have seen sort of a big change in attitude towards cryogenics when it comes to sort of more industrial sort of solutions. So coming back to the quantum, Bluefors, of course, have made a big impact in the quantum ecosystem. And I think one of the biggest compliments we got was 1.5 years ago when our system actually were on the cover of Time magazine. I think it's hard to beat that one. I think we were also in Aquank, our Donald Duck here in Finland a few months ago as well. So I don't know which one is the highest sort of achievement. But I think coming back to who we are, we do sort of try to support both scientists and industries because we are in a developing technology. So it's important to have a foot in both places and make sure that cryogenics actually is the tool that actually gives the value add that the businesses can grow with. And the way we sort of help the community with this is, of course, to build up our capabilities, actually have a scalable production to actually meet the industrial needs that actually are approaching and already are here. So I think this work of building up this industrial supply chain is something that has been a very important part for our company the last few years. So that was sort of who we are today and what we are sort of planning to do in the future. But taking a step back, what did the founders do that actually made it possible to establish a company here in Finland? So of course, I gave this talk in sort of a speech about innovation, but I think it fits a little bit here also. Like you need a good place, but you also need something to solve. So I think the first icon here is showing there is a problem, and of course, if the problem is yours, then most likely other people have the same problem in the sort of sphere you are. So if you have an idea to solve it, that's maybe the first step, and then taking it one more step to actually take the idea to offer a solution how to solve the problem for the rest of the world is very important. And I guess that is entrepreneurship in a nutshell to some extent. So for Bluefors, when we started 16 years ago, what you see on the left here, this is how actually cryogenics looked like. It's not very accessible. It's actually very high maintenance. It's actually very hard to sort of learn. There's a very high threshold to sort of understand how to use these systems. And you could never be certain that they actually worked. So they were not very reliable either. On the picture with the dials there, you saw how the control system looked like. And this is actually not a very old picture. This is actually 15 years old. So this is how it actually looked. So taking those sort of taking that as the problem definition made it possible for Bluefors to actually allow systems like you see to the right here, where you actually use the cryogenics in sort of, for example, high performance computing centers, where you actually bring quite a lot of value from the payloads that you have in these systems. Oh, there you go. So I think hindsighting a little bit, but there was maybe 5 problems that needed to be solved 16 years ago. So you needed to make the cryogenics reliable. So industry actually saw it as a solution to actually develop technology there. Another thing was it was very hard to scale these systems, that they were sort of limited to quite small spaces due to the technology. It was hard to actually procure these systems. They were usually one-offs, very slow production with the handicraft type of approach. So lead times could be between 1 to 2 years. And it was not very easy to put them anywhere. You needed to build up an infrastructure to support the cryogenics traditionally. And the main driver back then was cryogenics was like using liquid helium. So that was sort of the commodity. But of course, helium is actually a finite resource on Earth. So if you let it out in the air, it will slowly diffuse away from the planet. So this, of course, means that as we go, it's going to be more and more expensive because the availability goes down. And I think we have seen that. I think the price have doubled several times the last 15 years. So those were the sort of problems that Bluefors product did solve. And we were lucky to be at the right spot at the right time with this technology, because of course the technology readiness level for quantum technology started to increase around 2010. So there was a need for this product also from the market. And this is sort of how the ideas came around. So just addressing the problems I just had on the previous side, easy to use, that's a no-brainer. Having it reliable was very important. There was a lot of work done to redesign this system to actually work more problem-free. The third one is something that I usually highlight because I think this user joy was actually a very big important step for Bluefors. Like making technology that are accessible for users are the key. The old one was, as I said, very inaccessible. It was never a joy to go there. You were quite sort of reluctant to start working on that tool, but the Bluefors system actually changed that behavior. So people actually started enjoying using cryogenics as a daily task. And another aspect of that is that it was very easy to actually grow a fan base of Bluefors. So very early when we went to sort of fairs and sort of conferences where we sort of displayed our products, it became sort of a little bit of an happening. And I think this is the user joy that is the responsibility for this. So it was something that really was in the founder's mind, that this cryogenics should not be an obstacle. It should be easy to use. Then more accessible, as I said earlier, you don't need to sort of build up the cryogenic infrastructure, so you can actually put this cryogenics wherever you want. And I think there is examples from IQM. They put it into Innonova or one Technopolis or Innonova in Espoo without bigger problem. And of course, what I said earlier, the construct of the product was such that scalable production was possible. So we could actually start ramping up and actually supply the requirement from the market. So in a short sentence, cryogenics became an opportunity to develop quantum technology especially. So I think this is an example of how our system looked like. It's been looking roughly the same for the last 10 years, but that's sort of a representative picture. So I did mention it. It's important to be at the right time, at the right place, at the right time. And of course, we were having the opportunity to sort of support quantum technology as that grew. But of course, this is actually a very hard product to enter the market with. It did exist similar systems earlier with slightly different niches. But since this product was very unique, it actually was possible for us to get the first orders. And of course, internally, I already mentioned what we did. Quality and reliability was very important. There was a very strong customer service from the beginning of Bluefors. So that is sort of going hand in hand with the sort of joy of use, that you need to understand what the customer really want from your product. And something that is very special for Bluefors is that the founders actually have been able to fund the growth of the company with the revenue that the company have created. So it was a very low threshold to invest profit back into the company to allow it to grow to the size it is today. Externally, I mentioned price of liquid helium. So the cryogens, that's something that we don't need in our system. So that, of course, helped push the threshold a little bit. The ease of use and sort of not needing infrastructure helped us to open new markets. And then, of course, quantum computing, the second way of doing quantum technology, helped a lot also. Something that one should not neglect is that if you solve one problem, you actually solve others also. So something we have seen is that the innovation we created for scientific community actually started solving problem also for industry and other areas. So now it was possible, for example, to the left, you have a picture of a telescope that is 5,000 meters up in Chile, and it's actually run on one of our sort of cooling systems. And the blue thing you see shining there is actually the Blue Force system. And this would not have been possible with the traditional technology. In the middle, you see sort of our large-scale system that actually make it possible to really put a large payload to sort of these very low temperatures and actually get business value out of it. And then to the right corner, there you have actually cryogenics in the sort of tooling spectrum. So this is to support semiconducting manufacturing, to actually have cryogenics as a tool there, because that's where many of the sort of products our customers are gonna that they are making are made from microfabrication and semiconducting sort of principles. So they need to take them down to lower temperature to qualify them and make sort of the sort of next step of production for them. And I think with that, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, David. That was a great way to round out our country overview with insights on how Blue Force in particular has been able to reach global scale, global production network and customers internationally, all with Finland as a base. So very much appreciated. Thank you for that insight. Next, we're going to move on to section 2, which is starting to get a little bit more focused in specific deep tech sector areas. And we're going to hear from Jaana Rantanen again from Business Finland, who's going to take us through some more specific market sectors. So Jaana, back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. I'll find my slides first. Okay, do you see it?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Oh, great. I'll leave it this way so it works better if I understood correct. Let's see. Yeah. So Business Finland services for deep tech startups. Business Finland is a governmental organization for innovation funding and trade, travel, and investment promotion. And our job is to generate prosperity for Finland by accelerating customers' sustainable growth globally. And our services overall we provide funding for research, development, and innovation. We support exports and internationalization. We create networks and ecosystems, and we also attract investments. We promote tourism, and we also attract talents. And when we come to startups, what we are looking for is innovative startups and deep tech startups. One can, of course, wonder why these are separate, but there's a big difference in these two. So both, of course, we are looking for competitive advantage of these both. We want to see that there is impact on Finland, and also both of these are investing in R&D, and they must have the ability to raise private funding, and they must be committed to international growth. But then in deep techs, how we defined it, we want them to have a business idea based on the latest scientific or industrial research, and that they have also strong IP based on research. In the startup team, there should be a balance between scientific and business talents. Of course, the team must not be very big in the beginning, but there should be both of those talents. And as we all know, there's a high technological and market entry risk in deep tech startups, but still the breakthrough should be in sight, and the business potential should be high. So these are the startups we are looking for, and where we are willing to which we are willing to support. If we are looking about the funding journey, what we have for deep tech startups, it normally actually very often it starts even before the business has the business idea exists. Sorry, because we have this funding called Research to Business for research organizations, where there is no company ID. It's research, and also we call it like a pre-commercialization funding for the research. But when the company is founded, we have four funding services for those deep tech startups. First one is Tempo. We call it. It's more like explore the demand, and it's a grant, 75% grant from our side, maximum 60,000 euros, and there has to be a team of at least two person working for the company, and a good business idea that really has big potential. And to get this funding, of course there are a lot of criteria, but one of the criteria is also that there should be also already a draft project plan for R&D project, which will follow after the Tempo. Of course, if the Tempo project, the result of the Tempo project is that there is no need, or this won't work, so we don't expect you to continue to the R&D phase, but we want to see that you are really aiming high and want to continue doing the R&D. Very often the next, or even maybe the first phase for deep tech startups is the R&D grant. So it's more like there's a research, it's more like proof of concept type of thing what you have to do. It can be grant if your research what you are doing is more than 50% of the project, and there is actually no maximum in this type of grant. Very often after this R&D grant, there will be R&D project where you develop the service, product, or process, or whatever you have, and then you will end up in the almost ready product after this project, and then we offer you loan, which can be 50 to 70% support from Business Finland. This percentage depends on what you have there and how much your own funding you have, and what kind of results you could have more efficiently if we have this higher support percentage. As you can see from these percentages, it's you will always need private funding for your company. So we want to see that you have already the decision or almost the decision from investors when we make these decisions. So we won't take the risk that you are not able to run through the project you have when we do the decision. So we take technological risks, but we don't take the risk that you cannot run the project where you will get the funding. So you have to negotiate with the investors already before, or together when you discuss with us, you have to discuss with the investors to find the funding. The next phase for deep tech startups, we have deep tech accelerator funding, which is for business development. and commercialization and go to market to find the right market. And this is, I have a slide coming after this, but this is 1.2 billion euros altogether for the deep tech startup. And of course, we do not make the decisions for EIC Accelerator, but we want to push the deep tech startups towards this funding because there's the really big fund money what the companies can get, and this is where we want to help you. We advise how to do it and where you should pay attention and so on. But next slide is about the deep tech accelerator funding, which is for companies under 5 years old, which has been founded to commercialize business idea stemming from the latest scientific research and has substantial background IPR. And the founder team has strong scientific background and ability to develop growing business. And the risk level is actually very high. And this funding, Deep Tech Accelerator funding, can be used for business development, customer contacts, sales, marketing activities, validation of the solution and business model with customers. And of course, also to team and management resourcing and development and planning and acquiring the external funding for the next phases. This funding is granted in 3 phases. First, all the phases are 400,000 euros. The first phases are grant and the last one is loan. And these sums are 75% of the project costs. And when you apply for the first phase, so you need the private funding to kind of for the first phase, not for the whole 1.2 million euros. And every funding we have, there will be set targets, goals for the project, and if you reach the goals, and then it's easier to discuss about the next phases. And in Deep Tech Accelerator, we really look for the goals, how you can achieve those goals, and if there are still big potential to continue in this funding. Then we have funding for leading companies, so big companies who are building ecosystems around them. Of course, deep tech startups cannot get this leading company funding, but we are very much pushing and trying to find ways to get deep tech startups in these ecosystems. So we want deep tech startups to help these leading companies to grow and renew their business and business models. So this is a good way to find customers and find networks and so on. And if there's a match with deep tech startup and these leading company ecosystems or leading companies, so we have the possibility to give funding also the deep tech startup to go through a R&D project which has which solves a significant challenge with leading company and also to where they have common goal to go further and have business together. And here you can see a list of these leading companies we already have in Finland. So most of them are very big and they are on different industry areas also. So there is a good possibility to collaborate with these companies if you have a common goal with them. I already know a couple of those deep tech startups going collaborating with these leading companies, and it looks really good because these companies, they already have all the networks internationally, so it's much easier to, and it's more convincing for a deep tech startup to go to market when they have this kind of partner around them. Besides funding, we also have advice for global growth. So we have a team who help the startup to crystallize their growth plan and also to advise on choosing the right actions which can generate sales growth globally. Normally this advice is given only to companies who already have revenue, but with deep techs we can give this earlier already, so they can get the benefit and help for finding the right way to and right knowledge to go global. So this is advice. Actually, it's advice and kind of coaching, and then the deep tech startup has to do the work by themselves, of course, to find the right ways. We also have, because we have network around the world, we can give advice for the target markets. So we can help you to plan how to start or grow sales in a specific market. There are our people, but they can also help you to find the right people from the market over there, and to write the to create the market entry plan and actions also. And then because Business Finland is not the only public organization in Finland who can help deep tech startups going to market. So there are a couple of organizations which can make the environment a bit messy for startups. So this is why we have made this kind of table to show at what stage are the services of each organization, and this is for the deep tech startups, which table including all the Team Finland services. So there are a couple of things bolded here, which are Business Finland fundings. So this proof of concept R&D grant, and also loans and a deep tech accelerator. But if you look at, for instance, there are also investment grants granted by ELY centers in Finland, and there's also export trade finance workshops by Finvera, and also some Team Finland delegations and door opening by Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also working capital and investment loans and guarantees by Finvera when you need capital, and when you need, for instance, export guarantees for your go global things. So there's a lot of help in you can find in Finland, also outside Business Finland. But when we are talking about innovation funding, Business Finland is the best place to come and talk about what you have and what not, and how to proceed with your invention and innovation, and also your export. So this was shortly Business Finland services, and if you have more questions also, you please just ask, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Jana. And if this represents the summary of some of the major or some of the kind of most prominent public funding instruments available in Finland through Business Finland, the counterpoint will be a discussion that we have at the end of this afternoon session, focused on private funding, the world of VCs, business angels, and others. So thanks a lot for taking us through the lay of the land of Business Finland. And to move on to the next section, we have one left before we take a brief break. And the next section will really cover local agencies that support startups, some specific access to services through local authorities that's available, and also a legal view on the process of establishing and funding a startup business. So with that, we'll bring it back to Mikko Armila from Business Helsinki to talk us through some more details of local offerings here. Mikko, over to you again. Did we lose Mikko? I see he's in the chat. If so, in that case, how about we then skip forward to
No, I'm here.
Oh, Mikko. Okay.
I am here.
Hi, Mikko.
No problem.
Well, in that case, over to you.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, let's talk about a little bit about these services that we have here around and investors as such. I actually covered some of those already in my presentation earlier. So if we start with the investor side, for the seed rounds and the early stage investments, I think the best what we have here is the Finnish Business Angels Network, and I really urge you to go through some of the sites that they have. I show you a little bit here. Wait a second. Just a second here. I share my screen. I guess that. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So in early state investments, the Finnish Business Angels Network is very, very good to contact with, and they are very well organized. So they are arranging every month or every second month kind of startup pitching events, and you can apply to these to business angels very easily. There is just select from apply funding, and you can see that there's a very simple process how to apply, and you can see the application deadlines here as well. So next one is already after the summer break in August, and then rest of the year you can see the dates here. And you can always see these in this site. Like I said, they're very well organized, and when you apply, the screening board that I've been taking, I've been with them as well many times. They go through the applications, and they select based on that the startups that they are inviting to the Pitch in Finland event that they hold. That's one thing which is very good to know here in Finland, and like you heard from Business Finland presentation, also that usually when the Business Finland is providing grants, there is need of about 25% funding from other sources as well. So this is a good place to cover that part as well. Then, of course, there is. Let me just close this. Moving back to here. So then, of course, there's other players here in Finland as well that you need to know. There are a lot of venture capital companies around and around Espoo, VTT, and everything. So I think good place is to contact either us or Espoo. In Business Helsinki, we are providing the support from our accelerator services and from my team as well, and we are working with you to reach the right kind of investors for you, and we are helping you to kind of try to find the right investors for you. Good place in Finland is to look at as well, and Helsinki is to look this. I share my screen again. Just a moment. Window. So Maria 01, which is our startup campus in Helsinki, and this is a home of many successful startups in the heart of Helsinki. And the good thing is in this campus is that many of greatest investors and VCs are actually having their offices at the same building. So this is a very good place to meet the investors as well. And also this is a very good opportunity to place your startup as well in Helsinki. And this is really heart of the city, and Helsinki has been supporting a lot to build this Maria 01. Today there is 7 buildings in this campus, and the whole block will be in near future, in few years' time, planned to build as a home of more than 500 startups in near future. So Maria 01 is something that you should look at. And good point good to mention that Maria 01 just opened a digital membership for the companies that are not located in Finland. So you can even apply for that. And with that digital membership, you can actually take part of a different kind of events held digitally as well already. So this is the good way to get on hold to the Finnish ecosystem in early stage as well. The other thing is that I want to mention here is that can you still see my screen? No?
Yes, we can.
Okay, but this is Maria, so I have to change that. I move to another one. And I need to share again. And this is the place to know as well. So when you are planning to move your startup to Greater Helsinki area capital region, the International House Helsinki is the place to look into. There are all the possible information about the tasks that when you're planning to move to Finland, not only for your startup, but also with your spouse, your family, all these kind of things that you can learn from when to come to Finland. So take a look at this site as well. Get familiar about the services that we have for newcomers, our 30 services that we have here. You can find a lot of information about when you apply in your residence here and residence for your family and personal identity and code and everything like that. Actually, International House Helsinki is having in center of Finland one shop, a spot that you can actually work out all these necessary things that when you are arriving to Finland. And they are providing a lot of guidance and support services that you can book your time online already and start a discussion with them. And my team is there as well for the startup soft landing, so you can book a time whenever you want. And what else? What else we can help you? Of course, I can take you a couple of slides from Business Helsinki services as well here. Just a few slides saying that what we do here for you is something that basically for the startup, this is the services for network management, as I mentioned before. A coaching could be for soft landing, like my team is doing. A Business Helsinki accelerator team. There are 5 coaches that can help you long term when you have landed here. So they can be your personal coaches, no matter what the tasks are. When you are actually establishing your company, when you are building your go-to-market strategy, whatever it might be, there are people for help you for free, and they are very experienced on that tasks, like all of us are. Then in Helsinki we have one area which is the health sector that we are focusing and investing a lot as well. We are organizing a health incubator Helsinki, and that is together with the University of Helsinki and also with the university hospital as well. And there's a lot of there's a perfect environment for health tech companies as well. And also we are also organizing on EdTech incubator, educational tech companies, and that is done now together with the University of Helsinki, and the Business Helsinki is running that as well.
Great. Just doing a quick time check, Mikko. I want to say thanks for the insight into all of those services and all of those startup hubs that all of the founders and entrepreneurs in the audience can take full advantage of in relocating to Finland. I also want to note that we have Mikka Miettinen, who is the deal flow manager of FIBAN, the Finland Business Angel Network that you mentioned off the top. And I believe if you're in the chat, Mikka, you wanted to say a quick couple of words. So I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Nothing major. I just thought that I could help Mikko a little bit. So like Mikko did a very good introduction actually of FIBAN. So we are, like I said, the largest angel network in Europe. We invest into startups about 25 to 50 million euros every year. Not me, but our members, of course, and a load of the Finnish VC network and European VC network actually are our partners as well. So not only can you find funding for your first and second stage of your company, but potentially get the introductions and those super critical relationships started through FIBAN early on. And few investor sources actually give you proper feedback that drives your company forward. But that's my promise for founders, having been a founder myself several times and having had that maybe not the most positive experience with investors, is that you don't tend to get a lot of forward momentum feedback. So I want to give that to founders so that your time applying for funding from Fiban would never be in vain. But if you do apply, at least you would be more prepared and more ready for those investor discussions in the future, if nothing else. So, like said, highly recommended to apply or to get acquainted with me. You're always more than happy to and welcome to get to know me and talk to me over on LinkedIn or email. And I'll try to respond to everybody, but we get 1,000 applicant companies every year. So sometimes there might be a little bit of a delay between my communications, but that's because I want those communications to always be valuable if possible. But thank you, everybody. And super nice intro from Mikko. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mika.
Mika. We're looking forward to having
That's
you on
great.
the panel at the end as well, when we discuss
Yeah.
the investment landscape with not only Fiban, but a few of our VC and other partners here too. So great. Thanks a lot. Moving on, our next brief talk is from Salla Tuominen from DLA Piper. Take us through some of the legal aspects of both establishing and funding a company here in Finland. So Salla, I will hand things over to you.
Thank you so much. And the same question than everybody else has asked. Can you see my screen?
We can indeed, yes.
Great, great. Everything seems to be working well then. So and you can see the kind of the cover sheet to my slides. Is that all correct?
Just the regular view with all slides, but the main one in the window. So yes, we can see just fine.
Good. All right, fine. Thank you so much. So let's move on just very briefly. This is very brief presentations, have not much time, but I'm presenting DLA Piper, which is a global law firm, and we're operating here in Finland too, with quite a large Finnish operations. And here on the screen you can see actually the map of all of our coverage all over the world, which is helpful, of course, for also to the startups when they would need a service around the globe, and we are able to help the companies from kind of a one-stop shop principle. But I'm here today to talk about establishing a business in Finland from the kind of the legal perspective. So very briefly running through the kind of the very basics of incorporating of a Finnish company. And then I will say a few words about the fundraising process, which is very, very much well-established process in Finland. So the most typical form actually in Finland for a company is a limited liability company, but which can be either private ones or public ones. But we of course do also have general partnerships and limited partnerships, as well as some other type of kind of a smaller scale businesses. The corporations are regulated through a Limited Liability Company Act, which is very, very much also established and sets the kind of the straightforward and rather simple rules to follow whatever comes to running the company. And OY is the kind of the most common name for limited liability company, which is osakeyhtiö in Finnish. But you may see that in many papers and think that what does it mean? It really means the limited liability company. It's a kind of a company form which needs to be included in the name of the company. All the companies in Finland needs to be registered with the Finnish trade registers, and it will include the kind of the very basic information about the company, names, addresses, who are the board members, who's the auditor, if auditor exists, what's the field of operations, number of shares, etc. And it's a public information, so everybody can have access to such information. Also, the articles of associations or bylaws, whatever they would be called in other languages, are available from the register. The register registers this documentation in Finnish or in Swedish language, but in some cases you can also get some sort of an automatic printouts of the company information in English language. So the authorities are kind of serving well the companies which information would be needed in English. Shareholders in the limited liability company have no personal liability of the obligations of the company, so it's kind of follows the very well-known principle of a limited liability companies also in Finland. Free transferability of shares is the kind of the basis point. Of course, it can then be restricted if so needed, and quite often, of course, also so done in the private companies in order to avoid that someone of the shareholders could sell his or her part of the shares to someone who is not welcome into the company. So to kind of protect the shareholdings and the value of the company as such. There is no minimum share capital for private companies. Of course, the company will need money to start the operations, but from the kind of legal perspective, no money needs to be set to sit in the bank account, so to say, for the private companies. For the public ones, which are typically larger companies, it's the 80,000 as to start up. The decisions are made at the general meeting. There is one necessary mandatory meeting which needs to be held once a financial year, and then if other decisions would be needed to be made, those would be made in an extraordinary general meetings. And the board of directors is actually the kind of the most important body in the company, as it actually makes quite a lot of the decisions, but also the most important decisions in the company are brought to the general meeting, such as approving or adopting the financial statements. If there would be share issues in case of fundraising, such issues would need to be brought to all of the shareholders to decide. Any decisions or amendments to the articles of associations, meaning the business of the company, distribution of dividends, etc. Also, the election of the board is in the authority of the general meeting of the company. As noted, the board of directors, it's nominated by the shareholders. There are certain rules what needs to be there, but it's quite of a simple as that the normal number of board members is 5, but one is the absolute minimum, and at least then there would need to be at least one deputy member. The board is having the kind of a general competence all over the operations and the governance of the company, so that it's appropriately organized, and it's also responsible for the appropriate arrangements of any finances and accounts of the company. In Finland, you may also have a managing director, but it's not mandatory as such. But it's very typical that there is a managing director appointed, and it's really that the managing director then sees of the execution of the management in accordance with the legislation, and the board of directors is supervising the managing director. In the smaller companies, it's also quite typical actually that the managing director sits at the board, but talking about kind of a good governance, it would be preferable if the managing director would not be also a board member simultaneously with serving as a managing director. Well, then there might be, in some companies, there might also be a supervisory board. I think it's a kind of a nowadays a little traditional and perhaps a little outdated set of or governance. So typically it's the board of directors and managing director who are the kind of the acting bodies in terms of legal representation and in terms of how the administration is organized. Auditors in some companies, they are also mandatory. It depends on the size of the company, but the smaller the companies, it's not mandatory. But quite often, of course, for example, the investors are requesting a separate auditor from the point of risk management to be appointed. The company can be incorporated by one or more natural or legal persons. It's quite straightforward. Basically, a memorandum of association is needed, which basically states that who are incorporating the company, and then in articles of association, then regulating the kind of the basics of the company. What's the name? What's the field of operations? What's the domicile of the company needs to be included in the articles of association. There can also be some additional orders, such as how the general meeting is to be called and arranged, whether there is any redemption clauses or consent clauses what comes to the shares, whether there are many series of shares, etc. But that's then case by case what is really needed for the company. And at the end, very quickly about the fundraising process. Well, perhaps one thing before we move on this one, there are of course also available so-called off-the-shelf companies, and those are kind of ready-made companies which can be sold to people, and those are already set up in the register, which makes the kind of incorporation process much quicker than starting from the scratch. But it's just like kind of one way to expedite the process, because sometimes we are in a hurry when the company would need to be in operation. And of course, after all the necessary documents have been signed, those would need to be filed with the trade register. The company would also need to be registered with the tax authority, and in case there would be certain permits or licenses which would be needed, those would need to be also sought, and related employee matters solved, such as when hiring people, then the personnel have to enter into employment agreements, which typically in Finland are in form of written agreements. But let's move on quickly to the last few minutes and about the fundraising process very quickly. We have already been discussing here about various types of funding from public sources, and this fundraising process, which you can see here in the screen, is more about on the private side. And I have to say that it's well established. Private equity firms, venture capital firms are very much knowledgeable about the process, and typically it of course goes from the preparation phase, where you seek the financiers, you seek the investors, you give the pitches, and so on. And once there some sort of an understanding is then found, typically a term sheet is entered into. It's a kind of a letter of intent, which is not binding as such, except for certain clauses, but it sets the basics of the investment between the investor and the company. How much will be invested? What kind of shares typically are to be issued? what will be the percentage and valuation, what are the kind of the rights to the investors, etc. And after that, investors typically want to conduct a due diligence, which typically consists of legal due diligence and financial due diligence, and depending then case by case on the field of the business, of course, whether some other type of due diligences would be needed, such as environmental DD or technical DD. Also, sustainability and ESG related matters are nowadays pretty much at the agenda of the investors. So a separate ESG related due diligence might also be conducted. And after everything is in place, so to say, no major findings from the due diligence, then we would need move to the agreement negotiations. And typically in Finland, with the startups and growth companies, an investment agreement will be entered into by and between the company and the investors, as well as all the shareholders of the company will enter into a shareholders agreement. There might be some other commercial agreements, of course, but those are the kind of the two main agreements to be entered into. And once everything is in the kind of the final form, typically the papers and the agreements are signed, and then the closing is dependent on certain closing conditions. And what comes to the VC investors and PE investors, they will need to draw down their funds from their fund. So typically there is a short time frame between signing and closing, meaning that the money to be paid to the company will only be available then as of closing. The process, as noted, is quite straightforward and very much established. So the investors are very knowledgeable about the process. So it's in that sense straightforward. Well, perhaps that was what I had time in 10 minutes or so to go quickly through. So thank you so much.
Thanks to you, Salla. That was a great summary of some of the most fundamental pieces of both forming and also in funding a company in Finland. So obviously of vital importance for companies that are looking to attract investment, this familiarity with the whole process of doing so. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It's time for us to take a very quick break before we head into the last couple of parts of today's session. And so with that in mind, we're now at 4:15 Helsinki time, 3:15 Central European time. Let's take 5 minutes to take a quick break, refill coffees, and then we'll come back with a deeper conversation of the support structures in place from third level institutions, universities, research institutions, and then, as I already mentioned, a closing panel with a discussion of private funding and how to navigate the world of VCs, angels, and others here in Finland. So see you back here in 5 minutes. Okay. I hope everyone enjoyed a brief break and welcome back. We are in the final stretch of today's session on market discovery in Finland, and up ahead of us we have some insight into third level institutions and the research support and structures that are available through third level institutions, as well as a discussion of the funding landscape, the investment landscape here in Finland. I've just been informed that we're actually going to make a little change to the running order of the rest of today. And we're going to begin with a panel that includes some prominent figures in the angel networks here in Finland, as well as VCs, and actually also invite some of the third level institution speakers that we were going to have up first to have a discussion on navigating the investment landscape. So I have a list of some expert funding advisors and VCs to introduce to you, as well as some others from across the ecosystem. So what I would like to do in order to introduce everybody is not to reel off introductions myself, but in fact to ask you each to introduce yourselves with just 1, 2, or 3 sentences, who you are, the organization that you represent, and the types of investments that you generally focus on. And having already heard very briefly from Mika, I would like to ask him to kick things off. Mika Miettinen from Fiban. If you're online, if you could start us off with your introduction. Oh. Mika, is he online? If not, then in that case, I would like to ask Juho Risku from Butterfly Ventures to do the same. If you can introduce yourself, say hello to our combined audience, and let us know a little bit about your organization and the investments that you focus on.
Thanks. Juho Risku from Butterfly Ventures. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a Butterfly Fourth company. I've been involved as a founder. All of the others are more on the sort of a startup side. And we've been one of the leading seed entry deep tech and hardware VCs in the Nordics. So it's always investing at the seed you know, more serious side of the tech, what we are kind of interested of typically having a science component of some kind.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for the introduction. And next, I would like to invite Kaius Löfgren from Investor. Let us know a little bit more about Investor yourself and the types of investments that you focus on.
Yeah, and nice to be here also. Well, my background is also startup entrepreneur, and lately I've been working with finance, you could crowdfunding and such, participated in IPO and actually one buck project as well. But anyway, nowadays I'm an independent investor and looking for all opportunities across the ecosystem that come forward.
Great, welcome. And next, Lotta Partanen, actually from VTT Launchpad. Would love to hear a brief introduction and also what you can say in a couple of sentences about the model for VTT Launchpad. Lotta, are you able to join us?
I'm muted.
Oh, you're muted, but we see you and
Yes.
hear you now.
Yes, very good. Hey, thanks, Nico, for calling me in. VTT is a state-owned private or limited liability company that is fully dedicated on technological research and technical research. Founded already in 1942, which is on a Finnish scale rather old. So basically our task in society is to create an impact of change in society and industry. And one of the very impactful ways that we can do that is by transferring technology to growth companies. And the most typical way that we transfer technology to growth companies is by spinning off companies from VTT. And that's typically through our own incubation services. However, in addition to that, we also make investments into growth companies outside of VTT. So we can come in with a technology transfer agreement at the same time as investors come in with their funding rounds.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that concise but very clear introduction. And I would also like to invite in Kim Aalto, who is a member of the Innovation Services team, the portfolio manager for the Innovation Services team here at Aalto University. Kim, are you there?
Unmute. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you, yes.
Continuing what Lotta said, so I'm here working for the Aalto Innovation Services, and my role here is to watch out for these RTB projects. Was I supposed to later maybe have the presentation or?
Yeah, so we're going to have the panel first, and
Okay,
then
yeah. Let's panel
we flip
first.
the order.
So I'm more of the research-based future deep tech startups coming from Aalto, representing that kind of like idea from Aalto. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Delighted that you're here too. And then we finally have Terhi Kajaste, who is manager at FCAI Industrial and Societal Relations at Aalto University. So Terhi, if you're online, please do introduce yourself and welcome to the panel.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi all. Yes, this was a little bit surprise. I'm not really representing any funding or accelerator kind of organization. I'm here like representing a research center or kind of a research community called Finnish Center for Artificial Intelligence that was established 2019, and it's one of the Research Council of Finland's flagship programs, and my role there is to support and facilitate the collaboration between the academic researchers and the industry.
Welcome. And yeah, we're improvising slightly with
Okay.
our timetable this afternoon, having changed the order, but welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thanks.
And I think I see back in the group Miikka Miettinen from Fiban. If you're there, Miikka, let us know and do introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello. So now with the face this time as well, did a little bit of transfer there as well physically, but still here online all this time. So yeah, previous founder multiple times, and now happily here at Fiban for about a year, running the deal flow management. So all the startup applicants who apply for Fiban funding talk to me firstly by applying, and then also communicating back and forth a little bit about your company, so that I would try and make the investors an understanding for the investors from your value proposition, so that they can make, if their decision is a no, that it would be an educated no instead of a decision because they don't know or they don't understand what you're pitching. So that's the minimum I try to get done here at Fiban.
Fantastic. I'm glad to have you on board for the panel. So I have a few questions that I'm going to pose to the group, but I would also say to all of the audience, there is a Q&A function as part of this webinar. So please, if you have questions for this assembled group, of course, we would love to answer them. Drop them into the Q&A and we'll ask as we go. But my first question is, given that we have an international audience of entrepreneurs and founders who are either located outside Finland or recently relocated to Finland to launch or continue to run startup businesses. We'll start with the basics, and perhaps this is a question for the VC and angel members of our panel, so Juho, Kaius, Miikka. As an entrepreneur who is relatively new to the market, what advice would you give to startup founders at the early stage about actually identifying the right investors to approach in Finland, how to find them, how to make initial contact?
Well,
maybe let's start.
Kind of a start.
Please do.
Then, I mean, most of the VCs have kind of a little bit of a, I mean, I would do a kind of a little bit of a research on the kind of who you are talking to, what kind of investors they have done, and you know, what's the kind of a typical stage and type of investments that they're doing. It makes a big difference if the communication to the VC is relevant. This being said, I wouldn't be too much afraid of kind of a contacting early on. I mean, it's after all a kind of a relationship business. You need to kind of build the trust and kind of build the kind of relationship so that the process overall goes a bit smoother. I mean, of course, different events and all that stuff is important, but nevertheless, I mean, VCs, at least my work is to identify and meet startups that we could invest in. So big part of that is to meet with startups, and that's what I want to do. So, you know, don't be too shy either.
I actually go and meet everybody, talk earlier with everybody, talk with well, people who don't want to invest in you. Those are probably the best people to meet, because you will get an honest opinion on your company, on how to do it. And I would also say that you really should contact Fiban, call Mika. It's a good starting place.
Yeah, it's kind of shooting myself in the leg with the amount of work that I get by making these kinds of promises of helping startup founders. But I really think that it's also one of the reasons to get up in the morning. But yeah, a starting points go. I think Fiban can be the best one to start at in Finland, even if it's not your end goal to end your funding round from Fiban. It's just a great place to launch it at, so that you're in better preparation to have those conversations when you get into them. And you'll also maybe have a good idea of how you should maybe develop your company early on to get to a reasonable level of attractiveness towards the investors and understand which investors to approach as well. And there's a lot of literacy on how to evaluate if your company is viable for VC context. The good thing is that in Finland, there's a lot of different kinds of VCs, and we have the likes of like Gorilla Ventures, for instance, who is they're not your typical VC, so that the opportunity landscape doesn't have to be that your company needs to become $1 billion company for them to be interested. A lot of VCs are looking at cases only from that angle. Juho and others can, of course, tell me and give me more wisdom on this, if you will. And angel investors tend to also be open to investing into companies that are not necessarily VC fundable always. And then some companies are not angel fundable. So if they are very deep tech and very heavy on the capital early on, it might not be the best case for a lot of angel investors as well. So there's a lot to learn in the ecosystem, but going into those events at Maria 01 and elsewhere to get to know people and just honestly ask a lot of questions helps a lot.
Yeah, you've kind of preempted my next question or my follow-on question, which was about specifically deep tech startups. So can you, I think it's really useful to learn a little bit of detail about the Fiban and Pitch Finland process, and specifically with deep tech founders. Are there any recommendations you would make? Is it a viable path for them to look at angel funding before going directly to VCs?
Yeah, it really depends. So if you're looking for that early stage funding where first off, that your deep tech company, even though you're a deep tech company, your path to some kind of monetization wouldn't be 5 to 10 years down the line, could be more interested to angel investors. But also we have recognized that some of our investors are interested in deep tech, but then they would like there to be some kind of other validation for the feasibility. So that's why we've partnered up with, for instance, Baltic Sandbox, who is a deep tech VC, very early stage VC, and then companies that they invest in are also more interesting for our angel investor audiences. But it is absolutely a niche category, deep tech in general, that caters to a large sum of different kinds of companies. And it really depends on which kind of companies that could be then more interesting for angels than VCs.
Thank you.
Mika put it quite well in terms of this kind of a capital efficiency or capital requirements. So like typically angels require that a little bit, you need to kind of have a path to some kind of a real validation that kind of brings the next round on with that maybe a little bit less money than VCs often are kind of able to. Yet at the same time, I think that both are kind of quite picky in terms of that there needs to be a path to validation and so forth. Maybe another kind of a big difference with the VC and angel is that angels can basically, because they're investing their own money, they can invest whatever. But VCs typically follow a pattern, and same applies to a kind of a deep tech VCs like ourselves, that we have a certain kind of investment thesis that we follow. And easiest way to kind of figure it out is to kind of look at the kind of a portfolio companies, and particularly the recent investments that kind of gives an idea.
Yeah. And one thing that strikes me is that, of course, there are many parts of the fundraising process that are essentially the same in Finland as they are around the world. And so those are the kind of elements of the process that are very easy to predict or to already be comfortable with. Given our international audience, I would love to ask about the unique characteristics of the fundraising environment or the fundraising process in Finland and how they may differ or be distinct from other geographies. And so perhaps to Kaius and Kim and Terhi and Lotta, are there any unique facets of fundraising, investor relations that are to be considered in Finland versus elsewhere?
Yeah, at least from, well, our perspective or my perspective, I would say there definitely are. For example, if we compare startup investors, Finnish startup investors to, for example, German startup investors, Finns, well, we can take much more risk than Germans can, and it's really difficult actually to find equity investors in Germany, to be honest. But Finns also, I would say in general, like deep tech companies, even though that the path to market is quite often long. But still there's some concrete behind the idea of the company. There's usually some patented technology or unique knowledge or skills or something like that. And I would say that deep tech is a good field for Finnish private investors, angels, individuals, VCs altogether. But, well, that being said, I think that the deep tech is kind of a, well, favorite child for many investors because of the concrete background of the patents and stuff behind there.
Definitely, thank you. Any others? I can also move on to my next question in that case, which is really that Finland itself is... Oh,
sorry, Nico, if you don't mind. Just
Nico, please.
One thing that I think that is, a lot of people have been telling me, and it came through from the introductions here, which is the government party that plays a big role in innovation. So a lot of Finnish companies tend to be, in my opinion, in part lower valued than in some other countries because you can get so much easy access to non-dilutive funds. And it is so easy, basically, that from the investor angle, oftentimes it's actually kind of, some investors have told me that isn't that obvious? Like when I'm telling the founders that, hey, you should also tell how much you're raising non-dilutive funds and what's your budget breakdown. And then some investors are saying like, but that should be a given, that you are using non-dilutive funds as well, because there's so many of these opportunities. It's great for the founders. You get better impact, you dilute less your company, and you have the same capital impact to your company as if you were raising a lot more funds. So I think that's something that is super useful.
Yeah, and it was really, really helpful to hear the breakdown specifically from Business Finland around some of the main public funding instruments to kind of lengthen that runway and demonstrate even greater traction before necessarily needing to get deeper and deeper into private fundraising. That's a really, really good point. My follow-on question, in fact, and this is slightly related, I guess, is that Finland itself is not the largest economy, not the largest market. And so as investors on the VC and angel side, what advice can you give about demonstrating potential for international global growth to Finnish-based startups as investors, either on the angel or the VC side? Perhaps Juha, I'll shoot that question to you first.
I mean, we of course look at the kind of a Nordics as Finland slash Baltic kind of angle. But if you look at the kind of a numbers basis, the per capita likelihood of a unicorn from this region is about 7 times higher than rest of Europe. And the value that these per capita value that those generate is about 70 times higher. Even in terms of the absolute value, it's double the UK, this region. So I think the ecosystem itself is quite vibrant, and it has a kind of a starting to be pretty well established. And what I kind of like particularly, I mean, I'm of course a Finn and proud of being a Finn, but what I like here is that things sort of work. You know, there's a certain level of predictability on that processes and all that stuff, and there's a certain amount of kind of support networks also that you know make it a little bit easier from a founder point of view to bear the risk. It's hard work and it's difficult, so you know having a little bit of that support around makes life that much easier. So maybe those were the kind of my 5 cents to the topic.
Yes, thank you for that. I think as demonstrated by the discussion of extremely successful startups and in the deep tech space too from the last decade or so in Finland, as a relatively small market ourselves, we have a pretty strong track record in building startups and companies that can tap into markets globally. I'm interested to know, actually, Lotta, from the VTT Launchpad standpoint, how you look at identifying companies with potential, when you talk about the model of taking interest and making investments in startups that come from outside the VTT kind of origin, how you look for those with the right international scaling potential.
Well, you of course touch on the nerve there on, if you're kind of representative from a state-owned technical research center, in essence, we're here to change the world for better. And then, you can't accomplish that unless you're aiming for global impact. So that's clear. And then, okay, so that's not only enough that you have the kind of aspiration to aim for the global impact, but then you need to also have the right kind of team on board and the right kind of funding available so that you can actually execute on your plan. So those are in essence the things that we're looking for, and of course that sort of fit with what we have in house to support the team.
Yeah. And a follow-up question to you and to the rest of the panel also. We've kind of touched a little bit on the availability of public funding instruments, but how much does ability to successfully secure public funding play into the momentum of startups and the story they're able to tell about their kind of growth trajectory?
Well, if so there, it's really easy to focus internally, on the kind of companies that we spin off. So we can start from there. It's clearly a very kind of important aspect for us. Before we spin off any company, it's a project within VTT. So we can safely, and the team can safely mature the value proposition, develop the technology further, make sure that there's kind of traction on the market from the customer side, and that investors are really convinced by their proposition, before actually founding the company and spinning off. So that kind of, it's good for the team, it's good for VTT, it's probably very good for the investors to have a much more mature case for the seed investment round. So that from that perspective, definitely. And then, if we look forward, then, after spinoff or, another company like an external growth company, the collaboration there becomes much more fruitful when there's also availability to different kinds of loans and non-dilutive grants from the public sector that allow for that sort of collaborative kind of joint development of the technology further.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, sorry, was there another comment for another speaker to add? I didn't want to interrupt. No, that's great. And just to reinforce what we were saying earlier, the importance of not considering it kind of two entirely separate paths, the public funding route and then obviously seeking private funding, that one almost enables the other and provides runway to do the other more effectively. One open question, and Juho, you kind of touched on this a little earlier about the right time to engage with investors, and whether or not this is, different in Finland, where perhaps access to investors is in fact easier, given that we're a rather kind of democratic, let's say, society where access to people is kind of not done through a hierarchy. People are actually quite easy to reach. My question is, what is the right time to engage with VC or angel investors? I guess in this specific question, VC investors, how soon is too soon for that?
I mean, it's very hard to say. Of course, again, in our case, if there's a functional prototype or, that the kind of a science part is sort of proven, you don't have to have revenue, but, you can actually tell that what you're doing and why it's better than the others, then it's okay. And it really depends on the kind of a VC or the angel investor that what's the preference. If it's a more of a kind of A round or B round investor, then, more numbers, some revenue, and so forth. But keeping this in mind, that you need to kind of build a lead time into it, that I mean, typically there is this relationship building period in any case involved that takes several months from the kind of a first meeting to, the actual investment happen. I mean, if I look at the kind of a portfolio statistics, and like maybe the quickest deal we've ever made has been a kind of a 30 days from the first meeting to an investment. That's an outlier, and we are a very quick one among the kind of a VC scene. More typical is kind of from first meeting to a investment 6 months, and I've seen cases that they can, let's say, 18 months, 24 months from the kind of a first meeting. And sometimes the case has been that, okay, they didn't even need the money during the first contact, but, that nevertheless kind of got started, and we were able to, for example, provide some feedback on the kind of business models or stuff that we'd like to see until the kind of it's investment ready. And it goes both ways. I mean, the startup needs to be comfortable with the investor taking on board who you are taking on board. I mean, the relationship, after all, is longer than average marriage, at least in Finland, I heard.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, that the startup should kind of feel comfortable with the investors, and investors should feel comfortable with the startups.
Yeah. And
so
Juho, you mentioned,
it doesn't happen overnight.
Yes, Juho, you mentioned that one timeline, and it's impossible to kind of standardize and give one exact timeline for everybody, but you mentioned that kind of 6 months is kind of an average expectation of the kind of window for fundraising. Kaius, I'd like to get your perspective on that. Does 6 months seem like a reasonable expectation for the start of a relationship to closing an investment?
I would say that well, especially on crowdfunding, it's a bit faster. It's I would say, well, from start to finish, it's usually 6 to 9 months. But one thing that I would love to say to every startup, that come early, not late, because it's too often that company comes and says that we need the money in 2 weeks. It's impossible. Nobody can do that. Oh, well, maybe somebody with angel investor might be fast enough, but in general, companies tend to wait for too long before coming to, well, I think that, Juho, it's probably the same with you guys, that there are companies that come way too late and expect the money immediately.
Or they come like right before the kind of a midsummer day, like a month before midsummer day, when the pipeline is already kind of secured, and that's the pipeline we are going to close. Or same thing like early December, there's a kind of a rush hour, ton of work. So being a little bit also aware of this kind of how cycling works might help the kind of establishing the contact. For example, right now, I'm not able to take any new meetings because I have 6 cases on pipeline that I need to close, preferably before midsummer day. So, okay, it's not going to happen, but nevertheless.
Yeah. those are all valid, super valid points. And one thing that is kind of missing, that is trying to be written between the lines here, is that from the first meeting that you will have with the investor, whether it's angels or VCs, it's up to you to keep up that relationship. Kind of, they oftentimes, or more often than not, they won't be coming and knocking like on your door and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" But you should keep up the relationship and keep updating them and giving them the heads up on what's happening on your company. And the best founders who do that are most likely successful later on as well. And what to be said to what Caius was saying, then yes, the angel investors might be able to put that money in, but they won't want to if it's in such a rushed context. So that's also the thing. But so super good pointers there. But initiate the conversations early on and keep up the conversations, give updates, have an investor update or something going on. And that's what I encourage to do, is to have a Dealum page. You can feel it probably at Dealum normally, but through Fiban, and then share that to the investors. It can be shared publicly, even if the investor isn't one of our investors. Anybody can look at your updatable page. It's like a profile for your company. And then whenever you send an investor update, just attach the link and say that these are the 3 things that have happened, and you can see more details at our Dealum page, for instance. So yeah, do that.
Yeah. And I would say that's a great summary of some of the main kind of highlights from the discussion so far. The practical expectation of the length of time to build a relationship, the need to maintain it, and some practical tips on actually doing that through Dealum. And I would love to talk about this. Oh,
additional comment on kind of all in all, it's good that if there's a other dimensions on the kind of relationship just that you guys asking money, so that like having, I think Mick made a good point of having kind of some kind of positive updates and something that, okay, these are the things that happened, preferably something tangible, quantifiable, and something that kind of is relevant to me as an investor, but me particular investor, that kind of that could kind of induce me to take the discussion further. But then the other thing is that I'd like to kind of emphasize the human element. Some founders are very good at kind of building the relationship, not just kind of around that transactional nature of the relationship, but giving a kind of an impression that they are good human beings and kind of people that it's good to work with. So I mean, it's much more difficult route, I admit. How do you sort of start? Because by definition, it's a kind of a transactional thing to get the investor in initially. So how do you start? But best founders, I've noticed that they are quite good at kind of this building network and building the kind of relationships and kind of having also other dimensions and being interesting otherwise as well than just a kind of investment.
Yeah, and that actually is a perfect lead into what will actually be kind of the last roundtable question of this panel, since we could talk about this all day, but we have a time limit today. In building those relationships or in making contact with the whole world of potential investors, it's amazing that we've talked about Finland and kind of the country overview for so long today, and I think only talked about Slush once in that whole time. So as a really major moment in the startup ecosystem in Finland on an annual basis in November, Slush is a really, really big flagship event. In reality, how important is it to each of you in finding and building new connections with investment targets, specifically through Slush and other large-scale events like Arctic 15 in Finland?
I must confess that I personally like Arctic 15 more.
Yes, same here. I mean, Slush is not the deal sourcing. I mean, typically Slush startups are a little bit too late stage for us. We are early investor. Arctic 15 and these deep tech events are much more relevant from the deal sourcing point of view. It's not to say that it's not important, but it's not deal sourcing for us.
100% agreed. So if you're raising your A round, go to Slush or something like this. It's crazy the ratio, the miss ratio of Slush. So there's the very early stage startup founders, and then there's this level investors there. For me, it's great for sourcing because I can find a lot of these early stage startups that are not interested by anybody else in there. So it's great for me, but it's not great for you as a founder, in my opinion. Arctic 15 probably is, and Slush is great because it has so much of these free of charge side events coexisting at the same time. So go hustle those, and if you need to get inside of Slush, go volunteer there or something, because those relationships will be maybe useful for you later on in your company stage, but maybe not at seed or pre-seed.
Fantastic. And just to find, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I could add to that from the spin-off incubation point of view. So the kind of deep tech companies that we spin off tend to be such that they on the seed round they can probably still kind of survive with the local funding, but already on the A round, international funding is crucial from the kind of ticket size perspective, but also from the kind of maybe industry vertical or international scaling and that sort of connections point of view. So for us, it's really important to expose our teams to international investors already during the incubation. They need to build the relationships now and learn how to communicate with the international investors and navigate that scene. So while they might not be raising their first round from those connections, it's really of utmost importance to visit them for the scaling perspective.
Fantastic. And with that, we'll close out the panel. I want to thank everyone so much for taking part. There's so much that we could discuss this afternoon, and of course, too little time to cover everything, but wonderful to be able to have at least this discussion. To Lotta and to Terhi and to Kim, thanks for joining the panel early as we flip the order around, but we'll get back to our regularly scheduled discussion. So thanks again to everyone on the panel. And for the last section of today's market overview for Finland, we're going to talk a little bit about third level institutions, the accessibility of research infrastructure, and other support services for deep tech startups through universities and research institutions. So once again, thanks for bearing with us as we change the order around somewhat. But I would love to invite back Lotta to take us through the lay of the land with VTT research. So if you're ready to go, I will hand the floor over to you.
All right, thanks. So let's see if how my presentation works out. Please give me feedback on what you can see.
We can see your screen.
All right, very good. And maybe I'll put it into full screen mode. You can still see it?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Very good. So I'm giving a kind of a brief overview of VTT Technical Research Center of Finland, and then a little bit about the spin-off incubation and technology investments that we do. So remind me, is it 10 minutes that I have, or what? How much should I use?
That's right. Yes, 10 minutes.
Very good. Very good. So, okay. So we do some incredible things in house, like we grow coffee in the lab, or develop egg white without chickens, and create small scale nuclear reactors, as well as kind of scale quantum computers. So that's kind of a glimpse at what VTT does nowadays. So VTT is a visionary development and innovation partner for companies and society, and one of the leading technical research organizations in Finland. So what we do is we bring together people, business, science, and technology to solve the world's biggest challenges while creating sustainable growth, jobs, and well-being. So what we promise is to always think beyond the obvious. About the numbers here, so looking back to last year, these are some figures on VTT that was founded already in 1942. So we're a little over 2,000 employees, with I guess 1/3 holding a doctorate degree in some topic. Some 450 patent families, close to half of our net turnover coming from abroad, and we're spread across Finland. Our headquarters are in Espoo, so right next to Helsinki, on the same campus as we have Aalto University. However, we are spread across all the way up to Oulu in different kind of research facilities. And so we have 3 business areas that we've split our research into. We have carbon neutral solutions that are developing many systemic, larger scale systemic changes in society, and digital technologies where you have let's say photonics and sensing and for example the quantum computer development, and then sustainable products and materials. You know, a lot of the kind of new materials and new nature related stuff. So you know, so in essence, what we say is, and in this world of kind of despair, we talk about exponential hope, and you know, we say that we bring exponential hope to the world that needs to deal with climate crisis, achieve resource sufficiency, drive industrial renewal, provide safety and security, enable good life for all. So we have some focus areas that you know that kind of drive our research development. So we look at different kinds of systemic challenges and then technological challenges that we want to tackle. And then what we do is we constantly invest into our research facilities in strategic areas, and that way try to kind of be at the forefront on the global level. So you know, this is a slide that has become awfully popular in the recent while, and why that is it really explains quite let's say in an accessible way what our role is. So we have the kind of basic research taking place in the universities typically, and then we have the private sector bringing products to market. And where we lie is in between those. We translate the basic research through applied research and technology development to something that can be then commercialized by the private sector. So VTT Launchpad is a spin-off incubator founded in 2019, and we're committed to develop fundable spin-off ventures that aim for global impact. So basically, VTT has a long track record of spinning off science startup ventures. So as was mentioned on one of the earlier slides, over 50 companies have kind of been founded from VTT in the past some 30 years, 25, 30 years. And so we've been tracking in, you know, in the recent while how VTT spin-off companies fare against the other Finnish startups. So below we have a graph. I'm sorry, the text is very small, but the graph is depicting the investments into all Finnish startups between 2013 and 2023. above we have VTT spin-off companies and how much funding they have attracted. And so on 5-year average, it's about 8.5% of the equity capital that go to VTT's spin-off companies from that. And that was in the 5 years, 28 spin-offs that raised funding. So while we have the incubation and actual incubation internal spin-off companies, we also offer acceleration for external companies in strategically selected areas, or industries. So for the 5th year, we have the EIT Food Accelerator Network, the New Nordics node, supporting food and agrotech startups. And from next year onwards, we'll be also hosting the NATO Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic, DIANA for short. So VTT Launchpad, basically what we do is, in essence, we create value out of VTT-owned IPR by investing it into growth companies. And, how we track our kind of success at that is by looking at the amount of capital investments attracted by our spin-off companies annually. So in essence, this is what we offer in our incubator. First and foremost, the teams must be aiming for creating this sort of fundable company aiming for global impact. It must be built on VTT IPR that can be spun off, and technology must be demonstrated, and it needs to be run by a team that can be developed into a fundable team. And there's funding available for these teams: active IPR development, coaching and training and entrepreneurship, support in business development, active team development, and then facilitating contacts with investors, partners, and mentors. From the current incubator, we have published 10 funded spin-off companies listed here, and in addition to the companies that we have spun off and invested the technology into, we also make investments into other growth companies, and that's done by VTT Holding Limited liability company. So that's what that means is that we can invest patents, know-how, trademarks, domain names, design rights, exclusively or non-exclusively into growth companies. And so about half of the investments that have been made to other companies than VTT spin-offs. And VTT has done this sort of work, has done, of course, investments also before 2019. And that was done by VTT Ventures company. And that portfolio doesn't make any new active investments and is nowadays managed by Voima Ventures. So more information you can find on the website, on VTT's website, and this is a shortcut to our pages, vttlaunchpad.fi.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Lotta. Thanks for the insight into VTT Launchpad. And I think importantly, as you were saying, VTT Launchpad as the bridge across the deep tech valley of death. I think that's really important to understand as well. So many thanks for that.
Thank you.
And next up, I would like to invite Terhi Kajaste from Aalto, from FCAI Industrial and Societal Relations. The floor is yours, and thanks again for rolling with our slightly back to front schedule for the last part of this session. Over to you.
That's fine, thanks. Let's see, I'll try to share the screen with you. Okay, what is it that you see now?
We can see this regular slide view. Oh,
Okay.
we did. Just disappeared again.
How about now?
Great. Full slide, yes.
Okay,
You see.
great. Good. Excellent. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity to come and talk to you about the Finnish Center for Artificial Intelligence, which is, in short, we call it FCAI, and it is a joint venture established by Aalto University, University of Helsinki, and VTT. And like I already mentioned in the panel introduction, this is a flagship program of the Finnish Research Council. So in addition to research, education of future talent is one of our core missions. So in addition to presenting you FCAI, I will also tell you about an exciting recent doctoral education program that was initiated by Finnish government in the turn of this year. So this presentation will cover our achievements, approaches, impactful collaborations, and our vision for the future. Okay, let's see how I get to change the slides here. Okay, for some reason the slides are not changing. What is it that you are actually seeing now? Okay, do you see the new slide?
Yeah, we can just see the regular slide
I
sorter.
guess I have to go like this. All right.
We can see the slide. Thanks.
Okay, great. So FCAI is a leading hub for AI research in Finland, and sorry about this. Now struggling a little bit. So since the establishment in 2019, we have made significant strides in advancing AI research and development. And our research center is built on a long track record of pioneering machine learning research, and we are proud to be recognized as a flagship program. Like mentioned, there are several other flagship programs in Finland in addition to FCAI. So in this slide, you can see some impressive numbers from our last reporting period, 2019 to 2022. So in 3 years, we had 70 professors and their research groups that are working closely with each other and for our research programs. And these researchers have produced 2,550 peer-reviewed publications, with 65% of these involving international collaboration, and 11% were done in collaboration with industry. And our research has been very impactful, with 22% of our publications being highly cited in the academic community. And in addition, we have a strong focus on education, and that is also done in close collaboration with industry. During that reporting period, we produced over 100 PhD degrees and 800 master's degrees in collaboration with more than 100 companies. So FCAI's research is consistently ranked among the top in Europe. And this is a testament to the quality and the impact of our work. We have an extensive ecosystem of around 440 industry and public sector organizations. We are proud to host Finland's ELLIS unit, which is part of a pan-European network of AI excellence centers. And our initiatives are making significant strides towards AI literacy for all. We are contributing to Finland's AI program and also the European AI strategic research agenda. So what makes FK unique? We are focusing in 3 core areas of AI research, and those are probabilistic machine learning, simulation-based inference, and user modeling. So these are fundamental areas to developing AI systems that work well with human beings. And our goal is to create AI that can enhance human decision-making and provide advanced modeling methods for various applications. One of our standout initiatives is so-called FK virtual laboratories, which aims to transform the research process itself. By applying the same AI methods across different fields, we create a scalable advantage that can solve a wide range of problems. And here you can see examples of research representing our core research focus areas. They are AI assistants with new types of user models. Our researchers are developing truly helpful AI systems that improve designs while keeping humans in the loop. And this work was presented in the AAAI conference on artificial intelligence in February 2023. And then also privacy-preserving synthetic twin to a sensitive data set. So creation of the Twinify software is one of our true success stories. It is a software package for privacy-preserving generation of synthetic twin to a given data set. And the third here is a human AI team for better decisions. Combining models of human cognition with statistics is an efficient way for AI systems to figure out how people behave. So this work was presented in the International Conference on Autonomous Agents and Multi-Agent Systems in May 2022. And some more examples. In this slide, our research has several real-world applications, and here some examples: engineering enzymes, working with VTT Technical Research Center to advance biotechnical research. We have used AI to engineer enzymes, and the goal is to accelerate the transition towards a circular bioeconomy. And optimizing chemical plants in collaboration with Neste, Finnish company Neste, we have used AI to improve the efficiency and sustainability of chemical plants. And one example is about AI-assisted drug design. We have worked with several pharmaceutical companies like AstraZeneca, Bayer, Janssen, and Finnish company Orion to develop AI methods that assist AI drug discovery and design. And here a few more examples of the technologies we use and what our research groups are working on. One is safety enhancing computer vision, our partnership with Konecranes, company has led to the development of computer vision technology that makes the industrial premises safer. And additionally, as an example, we have collaboration in the areas of speech recognition and uncertainty-aware safety-critical deep learning models. And some of our technologies have also been integrated in widely known and widely used products. This image creating GAN model has been developed in collaboration with NVIDIA and Adobe, and the technology is now used in Adobe Photoshop. And this differential privacy has been included also in Google's software libraries. And one example of a research-based startup, a spin-off startup, this is Spectacular AI, and it is developing cutting-edge next-generation camera technology to turn 2D pictures images into 3D images. So looking ahead, so we are working, FK is a program, a project, and the next step, we are working on an initiative to establish the Ellis Institute in Finland. Ellis Institute plays a crucial role in the pan-European network of 40 AI excellence centers. These excellence centers are called Ellis units, and they attract top talent and investments to Finland and also to Europe, of course. The Institute will significantly increase AI capability in Finland, creating conditions for extensive research, development, and innovation. By 2030, we estimate that the number of AI experts in Finland will increase manifold thanks to this Ellis Institute. And this growth is essential as the talent shortage is the most significant hurdle for companies' RDI investments nowadays. And Finland needs ways to attract best talent, and Ellis Institute is a crucial part of this strategy. And already many companies in Finland have expressed their support for this Ellis Institute, and we are now preparing new forms for collaboration, for instance, including joint recruitment initiatives that have gained significant interest among these companies. And one more example about how to attract talent to Finland is that we initiated, or Finnish government initiated a program for attracting PhD students, about 1,000 PhD students to Finland, and one major amount is also AI students. So our commitment extends beyond research and industry, and this is the way we solve national skill gap in AI. We are now recruiting 100 additional doctoral AI students in addition to the existing amounts of students, PhD students. So this is a big effort, and we launched a recruitment call this spring, and it was quite successful. We succeeded to attract more than 2,500 applications, and more than 10% of the applications were of quite good top quality. and so a little bit more about and giving you some idea of what kind of students we are attracting. Sorry. So here are some application areas or the areas we are doing research on within this doctoral education program. So in addition to fundamental AI, which is of course focusing on developing AI technologies, there are 5 application areas. One is communications and signal processing with strong connection to Finland's 6G flagship program. The other is health. AI-based advances in genomics and healthcare system optimization are among our top priorities. So our work also in AI-assisted analysis of medical images supports better decision-making in healthcare. And the third is engineering. AI methods are employed in product design, predictive maintenance, and in virtual laboratories, as well as in combining physical models with data-based methods. And the fourth application area is language and speech technology, where we focus on cross-lingual transfer of technologies for smaller languages like Finnish and Swedish. And the fifth, society and business, where we explore the social and ethical aspects of AI, ensuring that AI is trustworthy and socially acceptable. Our research also includes AI impact on economics and organizational processes. So in conclusion, FK is at the forefront of AI research and deployment, and with a strong focus on collaboration, education, and societal impact. We wish to invite more companies, researchers, and individuals to join us in this journey. And together we can make AI advancements that benefit society, drive innovation, and ensure sustainable growth. And for more information about FK, please visit our website, subscribe to our monthly newsletter, follow us in the social media, or contact us directly. Thank you for your attention, and looking forward to collaboration. Thank you.
Many thanks for that, Terhi. It was great to see the focus areas and the areas of investment for FKAI in the AI space here in Finland. And for our final 10 minutes, we have our last presentation from Kim Aalto from Innovation Services here at Aalto University. So Kim, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And as everybody knows, I have not been able to practice this sharing function, so bear with me. But I think we are doing... Oh, wow. I think I did it.
You did it.
See?
We can see.
Great.
Thank you.
That's all. No. So last but hopefully not least, I'm here to talk a bit about the research business, future deep tech startups, and the tech transfer here in Aalto University, how we do it and how we support these teams. And maybe you remember from Jaana's presentation, going maybe shortly on the details that typically these research business, yeah, we talk about that in later side, but first that the players here in Aalto, when we talk about the spin-off companies or preparing them, we have Aalto Innovation Services, where I work for, and no, sorry. Now I, oops, sorry. So we have Aalto Innovation Services, and basically we manage all the inventions and intellectual property made here in Aalto University. And ongoing, we have about 23 of these commercialization projects in our development portfolio. But then we work very closely with Aalto Startup Center, which is a hybrid accelerator, and it offers its own incubator and accelerator services. And they are serving about 70 companies together. Just a quick, oops. Now I have the same problem that everybody else is like, how to, there we go. So Aalto, we manage and protect and commercialization of intellectual property created here in Aalto University. We have 6 schools here, so we have a quite great community to come up with the research. And then we also coach and advise these research teams to convert their research ideas to positive societal impact. We have about more than 150 invention disclosures yearly here, more than 50 patent applications, more than 25 technology transfers per year, and of these more than 10 spin-outs every year. And then this slide is just shortly describing the Aalto Startup Center. They have various programs they are running, and the one we are doing together is this research business, which are the future deep tech startups. But as you see, they have a great portfolio of programs here, and I think for the listeners also there's possibilities to apply for these programs. And we are now talking about the research business pre-incubator program we are building together with the Aalto Startup Center. And just shortly about this Research Business Finland funding. So they are funding a research project that aims to commercialize a research idea. You could see it also as a kind of like a first funding for your idea. And then you have typically average in Finland is typically maximum 700,000 euros for 18 months to build your different commercialization paths. So in that sense, you have to first, these teams have to first convince Business Finland and then also Aalto to be able to apply for the fund. And these events are held twice a year. Actually, we are having one at the moment, so very hectic time here. And just shortly, what happens from R2B project to text transfer. Oh, sorry. Now I can see it myself. So it all starts with a Business Finland R2B funding application. Typically, we have into these 2 rounds total of 25 teams or more applying for the funding. And we, on that stage already, we give them support. So we are helping them develop their pitch. We find them business champion because all these research teams require some business champion in order to commercialize and grow late to become a startup. And also we help them with the application preparation. Then there's research business funding decisions. Typically, we have got around 14 teams a year that got the funding, typically 7 in the spring and 7 in the autumn. But like this spring, we got 8 teams. And then the funding, which I earlier mentioned, the maximum is 700,000, which typically is the amount of the funding the teams get. Business Finland covers 70% of that, and Aalto University 30%. But that means also that the research teams have to convince their school or department first in order for the school or department to put the 30% on the thing. And then we have this co-development and support from Aalto Innovation Ecosystems, where services where both Aalto Innovation Services and Aalto Startup Center belongs, and the length of this research business project is typically 18 months. Sometimes it could be over, sometimes less, but very typically they are 18 months. And during these 18 months, we help with the innovation readiness level development. This innovation readiness level is a model developed by KTH, which is the Royal University of Technology in Stockholm. And there we look at the project from different angles. I will go more deep to that in the following slides. And then also we help them to prepare for the technology transfer. So we have just renewed our technology transfer policy, and we are aiming for the technology transfer to happen 30 days after the project has ended. And in order to this to happen, there are certain documents are required from these teams to be prepared during the R2B. One is investor memorandum. One is the IP list of the IP they have. They have to communicate the team and roles, including the ancillary activity policy check, since often there could be especially the technical champion is joining from Aalto University, and sometimes they want to stay in Aalto University and then have some role in the startup, but there's rules and regulations for that as well. They have to prepare the cap table and financial and investments plans. So when these are in order, then when the research and business project have ended, they should be in 30 days, they are able to form the startup. And typically here in Aalto will have for the exchange of the technology, will take between minimum 10% equity of the new formed startup, and Aalto will not have any operational role in that startup. Oops. So we have a good track record of these R2B funding cases. Since 2012, we have had more than, actually this figure is now when we got it's 134 R2B projects that got funded, and over 75 million euros in total funding for these projects, which of course 70% comes from Business Finland, 30% from Aalto, and the average funding of the project last 4 years has been just exactly almost 700,000 euros. We have a great application success rate. We have most applications in Finnish. This funding is open for all universities and research institutions, including VTT, and typically our application success rate is more than 50. In some years it's exactly 100. But as said earlier, typically we get 7 projects funded, and like last spring we had 17 teams applying for the funding. And of these R2B projects, we have created more. I think nowadays it's more than 55 startups and spin-offs, and these spin-offs and startups have received more than 600 million in total investment money. So quite successful. So what we do here is how to prepare them to become the future deep tech startups. We have this work package together with the Aalto Startup Center, and the aim of this package is to help the project teams to achieve higher level of commercial readiness when the project ends. So as Lotta mentioned, and I think Nico mentioned about the debt valley, we are helping them to cross that. And also in that work package, we have a strong support from, as mentioned, both from Aalto Innovation Services and Aalto Startup Center, which are service organizations here in Aalto University, and both have business and innovation advisors. And then we have lots of tools and trainings to develop them further. From ideas to impact is a trade market. The idea here in Aalto, this maybe visualizes what we do. So innovation services, we handle all the inventions and business ideas. We also handle IP licensing and sale. But then when we have these R2B cases, we work in these cases together with the Aalto Startup Center, who takes care of the solution development, asset development, and business development, and helps them, these projects, after they have been incorporated, to scale up. So we have these cases that they have started, they have maybe done research for 4 years in Aalto, for example, then they join the research to business program. They are there 1.5 years, then they are incorporated. Some of them will then join Startup Center as the customers, spend there 3 years, and then comes the scale up in that sense. So for example, ISI, which is one of the most successful cases from Aalto, it took from the, let's say, from they started to research to the point that they started to get funding and revenue, it took 7 to 8 years. So these are very long-term things we are doing here. But basically, the program is built on the business generator program. So if you startups will join Aalto Startup Center, you will have a very similar package with them. So we look at these projects from a different views, like customer readiness development, technology readiness development, business readiness development, IP readiness development, team readiness, and funding readiness. And for each of these tasks, we have then coaching, training, tools, etc., to prepare them for the, I would say, for the technology transfer as well. Maybe more details about the tools and trainings we have here. But since the time, I thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction to the world of innovation services and
thank you.
Research to business and how that process happens here at
And maybe the takeaway for the audience is, of course, we with the Startup Center, we do, these are all Aalto-based research things, but I think the same model can be used even you are not Aalto-based, and there's lots of places here in Aalto ecosystem to join and get the entrepreneurial experience and growing your business here.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kim. That's it from our speakers. That's it from me. How about I hand things back over to Henrik Keinonen, who can give us some final thoughts and close us out. Henrik, over to you.
Yes. So I changed the location, but it seems that we had a very nice workshop, even though we exceeded some timeline. But I hope that you enjoyed and stayed on the line. We have something like 25 participants today, which is a good number. 50, 60 registrations. So I hope that you all had something out of this. And if you have any questions or any material introductions, you can always revert back to me or then Axis Big Fiona can help you also to getting in touch with us. So without further ado, I wish you all a very nice week and thank you for joining the day.